Shabbat shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Everybody on the live, can y'all hear me? Sound check. Can y'all hear me? Ready? Y'all ready to go? Good? Good. All right. So for everybody on the live feed, we tried to go live on the other page, but it sounds like we still yeah, we tried to go live on the other page, but we are still blocked. I'm assuming we're blocked the whole entire day to tomorrow. So y'all willing, we'll be back live on the other page by next Shabbat. But we do appreciate y'all tuning in. And for those who could make it, I know it's our backup page. So what y'all can do, whether you're watching the live or you tuning in later on, is just subscribe to this channel just in case we have another scenario like that. And this will be the backup channel that we use. So with that being said, Shabbat shalom to everybody. Shabbat shalom to all elders, teachers, servants, leaders amongst the people. Shabbat shalom to all 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad the earth, and even to the Gentiles who serve Yah's spirit and truth. We bid you all shalom. Welcome back to another Echad Malkut Shabbat lecture. And this week we'll actually be going to letter A. So we are at the 17th letter now. We've been doing this a little over a year now. And we got about 6 more letters left, but real quick before we get into lessons, just a quick answer for everybody, for those who be following the series. Going through the series, what have y'all really extracted so far? It ain't gotta be nothing deep or long, but what have y'all extracted so far from the series of the Revelation of Peh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. What you, okay. What you see?
Yeah, I was definitely every thing they said. But when you can really see to add what they're saying, add to what they're saying, you can see how Yah's word is alive, um, how it's alive, and you understand that the Hebrew language, the Hebrew tongue is a concrete language, and every symbol, every alphabet has it's quickened. If you understand it, what I mean by quickened, that it has life in it, right? That it has meaning, that it has not only has rudiment. I mean, just when you look at whole words in the English, like to speak to what Kanak was saying, until we see those letters come together, those individual letters have absolutely no real meaning until you bring them together.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually see the alphabet, every word is just like a piece of a body, right? It's like a piece of a body. And based on you structure those letters together, each of those words can act, each of those letters can have addition and subtraction. Yeah. And we as well see when they come together, it has a feminine and a masculinity. Mm-hmm. Based on how they're used, you can even see how this masculine and feminine in it. You can see the word is actually considered. When you look at the alphabet, there's a parent root and then a child root. And those child roots usually consist of those long syllables. Okay. I mean, those long letters, right? But when they come together, and then when you get the parent, you can see how the offspring comes out of it. Right. You know what I mean? So it's a living word. Really a living. It's a living. Each alphabet has a living element to it. And the way you bring them together, it creates a family. You know what I mean? And it just shows you how intentional Yah is. Even bringing all that language together, you know it's of Yah because it's alive. Okay? You know, and even when we see, even in its numeric value, it's alive. Mm-hmm. You know, so in every way imaginable and fashionable, how you ever utilize it, it has meaning. There's some type of construct to it, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna share with y'all an overview of what I received as we keep going. Right, this is the book of John, chapter 1, verse 3. It said, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And when you look at creation, there's not actually one thing in creation that does not have life in it. And so for me, I can see how one can get tripped up in worshiping nature. Because the reality is nature helps you actually understand the creator. But the problem with us as a people and even the heathenistic kingdoms is that they look to nature as God itself. They look to creation as God itself, not realizing that this thing would not be alive without something greater than itself. We don't understand. We don't know how these trees got here, yet we know they live hundreds of thousands of years. You get what I mean? We don't know how these rivers was technically made, but yet we know that they constantly are running in their circuit. We don't know who put the sun. When I say that, I mean from a natural. We don't know how the sun was put in that circumference of space and moon and the stars in this circumference of space, yet it still runs the circuit. Which shows you that it has to be controlled because it's at the same time, especially the sun all the time. Mm-hmm. So in essence, I can see how one could fall, but ultimately, I feel like Abraham, if you ever read the Apocalypse of Abraham, and y'all started to show him a lot of the things of the earth, how it was made, Abraham, he kind of started coming to this conclusion, like, hold on, well, my father is worshiping something that I just knocked over and can't pick itself back up. It is made from the clay. Well, the clay can be eroded and moved by water. But water can get moved by the elements. And water can also, but you can't say fire because fire can get put out by water. Yet the water is controlled by the moon. Yet the moon can't get its light without the sun. Yet the sun has to, so who is creating all these things? Because it seems like all these things need each other, yet they're functioning based upon something greater than itself. And I can see how he came to that conclusion that there is only one God. There is only one power. Now, did he get principalities over other kingdoms? And yet Israel was his portion? Yeah. But believe it or not, it was always supposed to be that all tongues shall confess. All tongues. Everything. And so when I'm starting to go through this letter, it's almost as if it plays as a schoolmaster of relearning in his real language. And ultimately reflecting how Yah views us. That if we can manipulate all these things, even look how they're trying to manipulate skies. In his wickedness, though, that man has that power. Which means if man has that power, then man is even greater than this thing that we're worshiping called creation. So if man is greater than this natural substance like wood and stone and crystals and water and the sky, but yet a man can't even figure out how he woke up the next day. That is a testimony that there is a God. And that is the conclusion I'm coming to looking at this, that there is a God. There is an almighty God, and he is literally in control of all things. And the reality is, when you get down, when you talk about wind, when you talk about breath, everything that has life literally has breath in it. The trees have what? Oxygen. The soil has oxygen. Creation, the birds, the beasts of the field, the fowls of the air, the sea creatures have oxygen. And we know that oxygen represents Yah's breath of life. So when it came to the conclusion, looking at John, that there's like literally anything that was made that did not have Yah. That did not have Yah. And so as we start to go into the Peh, I think this is where us as mankind, us as being especially the children of Israel, we even have to be careful. Because if we're supposed to be in Yah's likeness and image, that means we have increments of his power within us. Follow me. He is given a piece of himself in every last one of us. Therefore, when you start to look at these different body parts that we have, you will actually recognize that you must actually be careful, even down to your mouth, what you say, because Yah is given an increment of himself in you. For example, we go through the book of Numbers. I could have put this in this lesson, but we go over it so much, I decided not to, but just to go over a little bit. How does man have the power to disavow somebody's word? Think about that. That Yah is giving you the power to disallow somebody's word. Your woman, your daughter, your children, members of your family that Yah's giving you authority over. How is that he's giving you power in your tongue to do such a thing? Because the first element that we see Yah exemplifying his power is through what? His word. And most importantly, his speech. And Yah said, thus and so. So when we start to see the elements of even our body parts, we will see when he said your members was always supposed to glorify Yah. But the most powerful member we have on our body is what? Your mouth. I'm going to show you through scripture, right? Because we got this thing going on thinking that the tangible is the most powerful essence of showing your fruit. But what if I told you that when we looking through scripture, the most powerful way to show your fruit, whether good and bad, is by how you speak, your speech. So today, go upstairs. Go upstairs. So today we're going over the revelations of Peh. And for me going over this lesson, not only was it convicting, but it was in essence inspiration and more intention on the way I represent Yahweh. You understand? You ever seen somebody like, let's just use most of it's talking about women. You can see a woman with an extremely foul mouth. What's your first thought of unbecoming, right? What else? Nasty. What else? Huh? Unattractive. Unorderly. Now let's put it in perspective of that same woman having a husband. Now, what was your thoughts about? Huh? He must be the same way if he allowed her to be like that, right? What else? You take it that she unsubmitted. She talking like that. What else? She out of order. She out of line. Ain't no way as a woman you supposed to carry yourself like that, right? But what if I told you that you as man is in the same spot we got? You his wife. And the way you speak and carry yourself, like you said, you would think that he got to be the same way too. You would think that our Yah got his woman out of order. He ain't doing nothing about it. You would think that his wife is unbecoming and unattractive, all because how she's carrying herself. There's such thing, misrepresented, there's such thing as body language, and there's such thing as verbal language. Right? Body language is how a woman carries herself, how she dresses, right? And we clearly see there was a code of conduct how I was dressed. But then you got the verbal language. And if y'all been around a couple long enough, you know after a while, that woman actually starts to talk like her husband. She starts to talk like her husband. So if that was the case that we measure Israel today, who we think was her husband? Today. The children of Israel, us today, we've come into the awakening, how we carry ourselves on social media into the world, how we spew the word, how we preach the word. Would you think that the husband of that nation is truly holy and set apart? Chaos will be their God. Almost in the sense of utter darkness, violence, cruelty. In some cases, in some sects, pedophilia. So we said all that about a natural woman, but what about his spiritual woman? Who was called to be that woman to him? Man and woman. Men were called to represent him in that fashion. As far as on a nationalistic level. You see the women coming in when men ain't doing their job. But ultimately, men were the spokesman for this eternal God that we're saying is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yet how this woman, his spiritual woman, is speaking, you would not think that their husband is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, sir. Right. And we actually see today that Yah right now is purging out those who can represent him back. Because no longer shall you blaspheme my name amongst the Gentiles. What if I told you to speak, you had to give the authoritative access to speak? And there's people who are speaking without the access code and authority to speak. And so maybe that's part of the reason why we're seeing some of these spokesmen on a nationalistic level is representing Israel being taken down and split and divided, because you have not actually given the access to speak in my name. And through this lesson, you're going to start seeing not only is there a certain way as spokesmen or leaders or shepherds or prophets that we should be speaking even amongst the sinners, but you can actually start to defame Yah's name by how you carry your language. See, sometimes we just go into the Shabbat, that's when we clean the language. And we right back. Sunday through Friday, right? Right back. Get right back to the nigga. You know, the Israelite, on Shabbat, the nigga like on Sunday. Right? That's why I said, when I was convicted, like, whoa, snap. Right? And some people will take the road and say, well, cursing is not like a necessarily bad thing. It may not be the best language. But I was taught one time that people who cuss are both people who don't know how to intellectually express themselves. So when we talk about our God, we got people who will cuss while saying it in the name of Yah. When we talk about our God, is that the proper way to represent it? Right? Because remember, you got to have a spirit of discernment who you talking to. And the reality is everybody is not accepting of certain languages. And you as a shepherd, a co-shepherd, you got to know how to deal with each sheep. You understand? So I'm not sitting there, I'm not sitting there saying that you're a bad person, because I'm just saying when we go through the flesh, you can see that there is a particular way as a servant to Yah that we have to represent him with our mouth, because is our mouth used for ourselves? At the end of the day, it's for his glorification. You don't know, right? Just like when Elder was talking about oral sex, right? The reality of that is that is a particular practice that comes from a particular nation that we understand. And just to be clear, we can go to the bed and I get it. It's a struggle for someone. But the reality is that is a mouth at the end that praises God. No, think about it. I'm not being funny. I'm being very serious. That's why it's a convicting message. It is. But the reality is your instrumental members were not meant for your own pleasure. It was meant for God. Even down to you having sex with your partner. It's really an honor of procreating and multiplying so that his word can be embedded in your children. You understand? I know we get a little uncomfortable with that conversation. But that's real. I'm talking to you. It's a man who's convicted by it. I know man who's just trying to convict y'all, but the reality is, it's a struggle when we're not realizing our body parts was not meant to be use sex as a sport, but only to procreate in righteousness. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's an uncomfortable conversation. It may even be.
I think we probably lost about 5 or 10 pounds.
Yeah, but it's a reality, right? We can go deep in, in reality, right? It's a gray area in some places there, but the reality is this: when we try to preach set apartness and we start just dropping the details of what we do versus what the Gentiles even do, how much separation do we really?
Israelites turn into Christians.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing wrong with being important.
And that's what it turns into.
They get defensive, boy. Like
that's what it turns into. That you get to start to sound like the very people that you preach against every Shabbat. Yes, sir. I don't know. Say that. Mm-hmm. Do what? Do what? Well, I would say this, right? And I mean, you've had this conversation. When you go into history and culture, those practices outside the natural way of sex is actually labeled as side.
Because consummating the first you consummate. And then there's also a thing where you remember your marriage through coming together. Every time the whole thing is like that's what right. Sex is an act, it's an act of exchange. It's pleasurable. Y'all made it pleasurable, right? So we would desire the fruit of sex is children, right? But having sex with your wife is an act of pleasure, but it's an act of lawful pleasure. And a married bed is undefiled, right? It's undefiled. God puts pleasure in it for a reason. So men and women will actually enjoy themselves and remain untied.
Yeah.
It's an act of becoming and staying one. Does that make sense? So it's nothing absolutely wrong with it from the sense of, but that's the perversion comes in when we remove its proper application, right? What does that mean? Like sodomy, homosexuality, what else? Uh, Fornication, right? Adultery is regulated. Sex is lawful, but it's regulated. It's like polygyny is lawful, but it's regulated, right? There's a fine line between polygyny and being a woman, or not even a hormone, but being a womanizer or being a harlot is what? Covenant. You see what I'm saying? That's covenant. It's the agreement.
So if we had to put a is in the line to be drawn, what can I procreate?
Cannot produce. Yeah, right.
So in essence, let's just use and not. I'm gonna try to use verbal language, not too explicit, but let's just use anal. You can't procreate. You know what I mean? You can't procreate, but that's still a woman. You know what I mean? So when you look at oral, you can't procreate. It's just at that point, total pleasure. But you'll see, right? Because I know we can get in this. Me too. You can get to the detail of where is that actually in scripture. Sometimes you just gotta search out the origin. As hard as it could be, it's like, all right, even in my struggle, what side of error do I want to go on? You know what I mean? It's not to be over religious, like that, but it's just to be cautious. You know what I mean? And some of us struggle with that area, especially those who face it. You know what I mean? No pun intended, but you know what I mean?
What happened?
I said some of us. I said for some of us it struck as far as the other side of sex. And I said some of us has tasted it, being like, you say you feel like you had sex. I didn't literally mean that, but so I put no. Mm.
No, it's not. It's not very long.
Yeah. I was talking about the act of different techniques.
You got to think about it. There was the whole purpose to be fruitful, multiply, right? Y'all never intended it. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So the desire to have it is the intention on being fruitful, right? But also
But how many of y'all want to do anything that you're not interested in? You see what I'm saying? There's always a motivation behind doing something. Men don't work. Right? Who wants to work? But if you don't eat without working, you see what I'm saying? You're not going to want to work. You know what I'm saying? If somebody could just bring you food every day, guarantee you'll be somewhere on TLC, the Learning Channel, 400 pounds, 600 pounds. But somebody just carting food in front of you, sticking it down your throat, because nobody's laboring. That person ain't laboring for that food.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there's gluttony comes out of it, right? But if the motivation behind working or getting occupied is you get to eat, you get food, you get shelter, right? Then no, the motive is that you can provide, right? But it's almost like reverse. Yah gives you pleasure with the anticipation that you will produce.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
So the pleasure is there. Like, and you think about it, women can only really get pregnant once for 9 months. Right. But at the end of the day, that doesn't forbid a man from them still coming together, except for certain parts in the just, you know what I'm saying, in the pregnancy. I'm sure that probably the woman starts getting uncomfortable with certain things, and it's probably different for every woman. But the point is that the pleasure is lawful. It's supposed to be there because that's what agitates the desire to do it, so you'll have children. You see what I'm saying?
Even Paul said that withhold not unless it be for fasting.
For fasting, right? You don't want to defraud. Yeah, you don't defraud your spouse because that pleasure is really to build continuous connection, you know. But that's why but if you see a lot of men that are out there with a lot of different women with no regard for covenant, then he has no obligation to bring his wife pleasure. It's a commandment that we pleasure our wives, believe it or not. It's a commandment because you're not supposed to, because conjugation is a right for a woman.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's a right. That's why most men take polygyny to believe, hey, I get as many as women you want. Not if you can't please them all. If you can't please them all, then no, you shouldn't really do it because you're going to take away from the other one. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you can't have respect to persons in it. Like if there's one, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm sure Abba Abraham, I'm sure, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure not Abba Abraham, but Abba Jacob. You seen the smoke between them two. You see what I'm saying? Like he was literally on rent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He had to pay, hey, give me my mandrakes for, I'm gonna give you these mandrakes for the woman. Because them women actually needed that continuous pleasure. Then that goes into a whole nother conversation. Men act like women don't even want pleasure.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We act like women don't want it. Then women actually play, they fool themselves because they play games and hold out on men like they don't want it like that. You know what I'm saying? But knowing that, you use that as a tool to try to get the man to whatever, but then you defrauding that man now. And that man start getting rights to go out and go outside of that because he has that desire to have that pleasure. You know what I'm saying? You're not supposed to withhold from that man just because you got an attitude with him or he didn't buy you that Birkin bag or
you talking about like
in the covenant, right? That woman shouldn't hold back on you because she playing games. No, that man has that desire for a reason. You see what I'm saying? You turn it off and you telling that man to pray and see if y'all just take this away from me. Meanwhile, he married. You know what I mean? Nah. You come home, it should be on. Right? But anyway, let's go.
So when it comes to this letter, we really could have made so many different directions with it, but I thought the most appropriate one is to deal with self and what we as people need to work on. So I'm gonna pull up the Ancient Hebrew Lexicon website. We're gonna get it in. All right. So when we deal with the ancient Hebrew letter Peh, it's actually a pictograph of a mouth. So that tells you many different things. What can the mouth be used for? I'm asking you, what can a mouth?
You said mouth or mouth?
Yeah, a mouth.
Oh,
A mouth.
Praise.
To praise. What else?
To speak things.
Speak. Eat.
Should we say consume?
Consume. What else?
Bless, curse.
Yep. Bless, curse, speak life, death. It can be used to blow, right? Different things. So some of the meanings is open, blow.
Y'all leave that there, man. Y'all said
What? What?
why you blaming him? That's you. That man might have done business. You trying to throw that on him.
Yeah, you don't know. I know.
Man, come on, man. I thought you know, man.
Hey, bro, stop trying to write it on like, man, I don't see what you got going on over here.
Now, we done.
Okay.
All right, man. Let's keep going. So when you look at the history and reconstruction of the Hebrew letter Peh, the Semitic word Peh means a mouth. And there are several ancient Semitic pictographs that believe to be this letter, none of which resemble a mouth. The only exception is the South Arabian pictograph. This pictograph closely resembles a mouth and is similar to the later Semitic letters for the letter Peh. These pictographs have the meaning to speak, to blow, like when you blow on something, from the functions of the mouth. This letter also means edge. Edge like what?
Edge of lips.
Edge of lips or two-edged sword, right? So, and what does a sword do?
Slice, cuts.
It cut. What else?
Separate.
Separate and divide. What else? Protect. And last one. Kill. Right? It can cut. It can separate, divide. It can kill. It can protect. Ain't that the same thing a mouth can do?
Yes.
Right? And this is why the mouth is the most powerful thing on your body. Even if somebody said the heart, which we know is the mind, but the reality is, let's keep this in mind. If a fool and a wise man both keep their mouth shut, who's smarter? Who's smarter?
A fool.
A fool.
Because
Why?
He knows the stuff come out of his mouth. So he's wise enough to just be quiet.
And he'll actually be the only one considered wise when he's not. So he's able to disguise himself. Versus the wise man, he already knows to be quiet and speak when he needs to speak. But a fool knows, based upon the company that he's around, if I keep quiet enough, I can disguise myself enough to infiltrate. Just like we always talk about Dr. Umar. Who's more dangerous, a white man or a coon? The coon. Because he's able to disguise his European consciousness, right? So when we look at the mouth, it can be used in many different ways and facets. And it can kill you or it can make you alive. It can curse you or it can bless you. It can bring people together or it literally can divide. Right? Just like we talking about David. It divided 250 men who had to bind themselves to his cause and end up killing themselves. But then you have Moses, who was able to draw out and bring a nation together. So by his word, but whose word was in his mouth? Yes. So when you go through this, right? I'm gonna read from the I know we like to go through this. Design and Pictorial Bible Dictionary. What was their perspective of mouth? So it reads. It says mouth. The principal Hebrew word for mouth are peh, translated with mouth, but it also can mean language. Now, what's the thing about language? What's the thing about language? Is language just your words? What could it be?
Body language.
Body language. What else? Hand gesture. What else?
Signs.
Signs. Ideas. Clothes. These are all languages. We know that. The woman wears a certain type of clothes. You can either know she's trying to seduce you or she's trying to say, nah, today ain't the day. You know what I mean? So clothes. So when you look at the mouth, language also can yield ideas. doctrine. That's the language. Go back to the Tower of Babel. He said there was one language. But if you actually go into the Hebrew of it, it said they had the same ideal conscience. These people were on the same accord. Right? Because if they had the same conscience, by definition, they're going to speak the same what? Language. Which is why did he divide the people literally? Or what did he divide that caused people to divide literally? The language. So we know speech in your mouth is a powerful thing that can either bring together or divide. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So when you read this, it says it can represent a corner, an edge, a skirt, and any opening such as of a well, right? Because they say, what it say about your belly? It should flow like what? Rivers of living water. But what's going to flow out of you? What the rivers of living water represent what?
Spirit.
His spirit. And through his spirit, you shall what? Speak. So you see, we can see that even there's a spirit behind how we talk and how we deliver. And we can identify who's of the world and who's not. So when it comes to the children of Israel today, I ask y'all, what really separates us from the Gentile today? Even by our own speech. As a whole, maybe not us as Echad Malkut, but as the reality is, the world don't look at just Echad Malkut, IUIC, any different schools. They're looking at these people as a whole are claiming to be the children of Israel. So the reality is, whether we like it or not, we're getting coupled and bunched with people who's on a nationalistic level representing us by their speech. See what I mean? Going back to the DC situation years back, where man was calling defect babies and gonna bash their babies' heads on rocks. That was representative of all those who claim to be Israelites, regardless of what we like or not.
Everybody that put out their disclaimers.
Yeah. I remember me being in Israel. Somebody thought I was a part of them. I've never been part of them. You see what I mean? So the reality is, when one of us speaks, not only are we representing all of us, but we're representing our Creator. And by your speech, you can be putting people in danger. So when we break down, right, when you put the words pay together, you have pay and you have hey. Pay obviously meaning mouth, right? We went speech, blow, language, etc., etc. But then you have hey, that behold, or to reveal, or to look upon. So when we actually go, let's go to Isaiah 40. Let's get a revelation of when you bring these two letters together, what does that represent? We're going to start Isaiah chapter 40, verse 5.
Isaiah 40, verse 5. Let's see. And the glory of the Yahweh shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of Yahweh hath spoken.
You see that? So through his words, through the speaking, Yah's glory is revealed. We knew Yah's word was coming to pass because it came out of the mouth of who? The prophets.
Yes.
Right? Which went to the prophet, which means not be. The seed who has the hand of Yah within his house. So we see it's certain, when we look at even these names that we're talking about, we all have something that represents Yah's revealed name or Yah's revealed power. So you have to understand the authority that you walk in based upon your name is the portion of his word Yah is giving you. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 3. Yeah, please.
When he's saying, and the glory of Yahweh shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. For the mouth of, or the Peh of Yahweh have spoken it. Because everything that Yah says, what?
Comes to pass.
Comes to pass. All right, so we will see it based on, we will see him by what he says.
Right.
So we sometimes looking, so they say your sky daddy.
Right.
Like y'all go worship your sky daddy. No, our Yah is near us, even in our mouths.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
So he's in our mouth. He's not in the sky to us.
Right.
He's in his word. And when we speak his word, he's tangible to us then because he's nigh our mouth. Huh?
Dang,
Oh, yeah.
dang. It's like you said, what the kingdom is where? Within.
Within.
In every kingdom, there's a throne,
Yes.
right? And at every throne, there's a right-hand man. And that right-hand man then delivers the message to his what? His soldiers. And then the soldiers carry out the mission. Endure like a what? Good soldier.
Mm-hmm.
And every soldier has a message that he must deliver. So let's go to Ephesians chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 3.
All right, we got to finish reading that.
You want to keep reading now?
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Keep reading.
We have verse 6.
Verse 7.
6.
The grass. Oh, you want to start over?
We read 5.
Okay, yeah. The voice said, cry.
The what said?
The voice said, cry.
Uh-huh.
And he said, what shall I cry?
Mm.
All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field.
Come on.
The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, because the spirit of Yahweh
What?
bloweth upon it.
Now, what do we say blow means? Mouth. Blow also represents wind. Wind is considered symbolically of his what? His spirit. So as he said, he puts his spirit in the mouth of his prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime his prophets blow, or we see in Isaiah 58, cry aloud, cry aloud and spare not. Lift up thy voice as a trumpet and show my people their transgressions. The sound of a trumpet is as a what? What the trumpet? You blow. So even when we go down to the symbolism of the shofar, it's actually a representation of your mouth. See, when we start to see the symbolism behind creation, we'll see the power in the creator. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Just like when you hear waterfall and rivers flowing, he said his voice is as many waters. So you can see that and symbolically understand that his voice is what? It could be strong but soft at the same time. Where if you're still enough, you'll hear, but his presence is so strong, it is shaking you.
Mm-hmm. Then we have a hard time understanding Mashiach being the word living, right? But you got to think where he's saying right here in verse 7, he said, the grass withered, the flower faded, because the spirit of Yahweh bloweth upon it, surely the people is as grass. So when we say bloweth, that actually means where we actually get the beginning of Nabi or Nab or Shabbat, which means to blow, to drive away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so but we got to think when Yah speaks through his word, in it, that's in the authority that's in it is his intention. You understand what I'm saying? So you know how they say sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it?
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So when he say he bloweth, and it's like grass, it's because his intentions in his word is saying blow. You see what I'm saying? His word can draw and his word can disperse.
Yep.
Because it's the intention that's in that word.
Okay.
So verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-edged sword. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our Elohim stand forever.
See that?
So we're supposed to build our faith and our hope in his word, because when it's all said and done, everything he declared from the beginning and everything he said, and through all his prophets, through all his Nabi, everything he said is going to happen. And he's telling us to hold on to his word, because when it's all said, that's the only thing that's going to stand.
Okay. Why this deep? What are you saying different than Moses said? What are you saying different than Moses said? What are you saying different than David said? What are you saying different than Samuel said? All those men withered away. Yet his word is still the same today, tomorrow, and what? Forevermore. His word don't stand the test of time, because it's beyond time. And those who bound themselves at some point will also be beyond time. Because we will live with him in his throne in eternity. And that's the place that he's trying to get us as the second Adam, who was made full spirit. Not the earth. He's trying to pass us from the earthly Adam to the second Adam, where his spirit lives forever. And so long as his spirit dwells in us, that means his word dwells in us. And so long as his word dwells in us, we dwell forever with him.
Hallelujah.
So let's go to Ephesians chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 3.
3 and 3.
Yep.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
How that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery, as I wrote afore in few words, whereby when ye read, ye may understand my knowledge in the mystery of Hamashiach.
Come on.
Which in the other ages was not made known unto the sons of men, as it is now revealed unto us, holy apostles and prophets by the Ruach.
You see that? So when he's talking, and he said, when other ages it was not made known unto the sons of men, but it's now revealed. And he's talking about the spokesman now. It is revealed to his spokesman, the apostles and the prophets. So when you look at the times of old, we know that we got the word by way of the priest, right? Or by way of the leadership. What he's saying, it is only by his word being put in man that we get the revelation of who he really is. So when we actually think that we can eliminate man, as if Yah doesn't use man to deliver his word, what we're asking Yah, or what and here's the irony of it. We actually put man in that position when we told Moses, hey, you deal with him. You talk to us. So the moment our ancestors told Moses, we don't want to hear Yah directly no more, he gave Israel what they wanted. So now, yes, you will get the revelation of Yah by his word through man, right? Of whom he chooses, and those who have a sincere heart. If you're chosen as an apostle, or you're chosen as a prophet, he deals directly and gives you the spirit to understand. Which is why you see Yeshua only talking to most people in what? Parables. But to those who was with him, he spoke what? Plainly. Because unto you the kingdom shall be revealed. But unto them who don't have the ears to hear nor the eyes to see, I have to speak in parables. So you have to understand that he's going to word the mouth of his servants to deliver his word to the masses, period. So with that being said, that's why you tell go let's go to 1 Peter 4. I wouldn't even go there, but let's go to 1 Peter 4 and 11.
The book of 1 Peter 4 and 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim.
If any man what?
Speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim.
Y'all know what oracles mean?
No.
Oracles can mean the word.
They tend to mean divine utterances.
So it can mean a brief or divine utterance or divine oracle. Let me see. Yeah. So when you look at that divine, right, we can read the word, right? But there's some revelation that some may get that others don't. That is when the spirit actually starts to minister, or what we're going to say, speak to you, that you can get revelation of what's being conveyed in a word versus somebody else who may simply, let's use an example. Somebody may look at the menorah and just think that was put in the tabernacle. But there's another who Yah given a revelation of the word where he understands that the tabernacle is just symbolic of Yeshua or the light within Israel. See what I mean? And that is how it starts to be. It's not always by just reading. You read to get access to that revelation. Because remember, Yah's word is what? Spirit. So yeah, we're reading natural surface textbook, but there's a spirit behind his word that does not be revealed to all. And so once that word is revealed to you, believe it or not, the onus now is on you to give that revelation to the people. That's why I tells you, what was that at? Can't remember exactly, but he talked about where people may not understand or interpret it, and you have need of an interpreter of that revelation.
Said some who speak by, said if they speak by four, but if there be one to interpret them, matter.
Yeah. And if it be not anybody to interpret, he actually was supposed to be quiet.
Don't be quiet, right?
So that tells you that you need somebody to help reveal Yah's mystery of Mashiach to you, his word to you. So as his servants, as good soldiers, as his disciples, as Talmudim, it is our job to make sure the revelation of who Yah is to us is to be given to his people, which means we have a responsibility. This is why you must what? Study day in and day out, because it is his word that's going to get you through each and every day, and that's what's going to guide you on to help lead his people back to green pastures. But if we're not separating our speech from the word, how can anybody come through to the glory of Yah? Let's keep going, Chief. Back to first. No, do we need to go there? Let's go to 2 Timothy. We can go to chapter 2.
2 Timothy 2
And let me see where I want to go. Actually, don't go there. We can actually go to Proverbs chapter 31 and 9, just so we can, for time's sake. So,
I'm sorry.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse 9. Right? So now we're going to go through words that start with Peh. So the first letter, everybody say Palau.
Palau.
Palau. Anybody ever heard that word before? Palau? No, not Palau, but Palau with an L at the end. Palau is another way to say plead or pray. Nah, it's something powerful in that, because the two letters that we hear, we got Peh, but what's the other letter we hear?
Lamed.
Lamed. And what does Lamed mean?
Staff.
Staff. What else?
Authority.
Authority. Now we went over Peh. Peh means what? Mouth. So when you put these two together, what are we saying?
Mouth of authority.
Who's been given the mouth to speak or the authority to intercede? And everybody has not been given that authority to intercede. So when we go to Proverbs 31, let's start at verse 9.
Actually, when using 2 Timothy, it said, let every man speak according to what he's been given to speak. Let me see. Go up. Where did you go? Where did you just read about the same thing?
Oh, we didn't even read. I was trying to bypass.
It was First Peter,
First
right?
Peter, yeah.
Yeah, First Peter. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We'll go to Proverbs 31, verse 9.
Verse 9. Open thy mouth, judge, right? And open thy mouth, judge.
Start verse 8.
Open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of all such as are appointed to destruction.
Come on.
Open thy mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy.
You see, so remember who is talking and who is being talked to in this. It's a Proverbs 31. Who is talking and who is getting talked to?
The son.
The son. But who's the one who's talking to the son?
Mother.
The mother. And so this mother is educating her son. Now we know when we go further on, he starts to deal with what he should look to in a woman, especially one who's going to be part of his domain or his kingdom to help build his kingdom, right? But one thing she's making sure that when he opened his mouth, that when you opening your mouth, you should be opening your mouth to judge righteously. You should be opening your mouth to plead the cause of the poor and the needy, and open our mouth for the dumb in the cause, because all such are appointed to destruction. So when we open in our mouth, what is she really saying? You need to be opening your mouth to speak life and bring balance to people. You see that? This is a mother talking to her son. So even us being sons of Israel, children of Israel, sons of Elohim, we should be doing the same thing to not only one another, but to all, including the Gentile, believe it or not. I'm not saying be docile to them, but guess what? Yah has also called them to serve him in spirit and in truth. So when we're sitting here talking about we're going to dash their babies and their defect babies, are we truly speaking the true gospel or speech of Yeshua? No. When we're sitting there saying that we're going to rape your woman, and we're going to do this to y'all, we're going to do this and that, are we really speaking the words of Yah? No. Is that really representing the living Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? So we can know a person by what I ain't gonna go to it myself, but I'm telling y'all, we'll know a person by their speech. They can have all the land in the world, they can have the biggest houses, all the cars, but at the end of the day, out of the abundance of the mouth, what speaks? And the heart represents what? Put a person in a situation long enough, he will show you his true heart. He will show you his true heart. So let's go to Romans chapter 15, verse 6. So that was Palal, given the authority to speak. The next word is Pa'ar. Everybody say Pa'ar, which means to beautify or glorify. Now, what's the Hebrew letters in that? I'm going to say it again. Pa'ar. Pa'ar. Say it again. So we got pay, which means mouth. Aleph, which means what? Ox, strong leader, chief. Resh, what does that mean? Head or the beginning. So what are we actually saying? We put it together. Pay, mouth. Aleph, chief. Leader. Resh, beginning. What are we actually saying? You are speaking the words of the chief who was there since the beginning. You see that? Remember I asked you, are you saying anything different than David? You say anything different than Solomon? Anything different than Moses? Because we're speaking the same words that was there in the creation of the earth. Ooh-wee. Yes, sir. Beautify and glorify. Beautify and glorify. So let's go to Romans 15 and 6.
Book of Romans 15 and 6.
So actually at 5. 5.
Okay. 15 and 5. Now the Elohim of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded, one toward another, according to Yeshua HaMashiach.
According to who?
Yeshua HaMashiach.
Your camp leader.
Yeshua HaMashiach.
Your assembly leader.
Yeshua HaMashiach.
So we are supposed to be like-minded, patient, and have consolation granted to one another according to HaMashiach. Now let's see what he say.
That ye may with one mind and one mouth glorify Elohim, even the Father of our Adonai Yeshua HaMashiach.
So one way you can tell if an assembly, camp, tribe, whatever, is truly in unison and glorifying Yah is if they're carrying the same speech. If they have the same conscience. Because again, the mouth speaks according to the conscience. And when you actually go to the remember we went to the definition of Talmudim, it actually says that you take on the consciousness of that teacher. So if Yeshua is our master teacher, if he is that chief shepherd, that means that we should not be speaking anything different than who? Than him. So we're supposed to grant each other consolation and patience and the fruit of the spirit. That means to all people, to all nations, should we not be granting that same spirit? Huh?
Most definitely.
Most definitely. It is not based upon tangible things as far as physical elements. But at the end of the day, the greatest glorification you can give your Father is by what you said. Praise. How you prepare your house for Shabbat is a moment of worship and praising Yah. Because what you're doing is preparing a place for him to dwell with you in. You see what I mean? When you speak life into somebody, believe it or not, you're preparing a vessel for him to dwell in. But if you constantly are speaking death, if you constantly are speaking curses, if you constantly are speaking just division, how can Yah dwell in anything that's corrupt? So as being representatives of Yah's kingdom, it is always our duty, 24/7, outside of the Shabbat and inside of the Shabbat, that we should be constantly speaking life. Because there are always places that we should be preparing for Yah to dwell in. Because that reality is, that is actually how we expand his kingdom. We go to clean one vessel, to another vessel, to another vessel, and say, Yah, we glorify you by giving this vessel for you to dwell in. Symbolically.
Remember what I said a while ago, I just won't say years. Where I said we should be like McDonald's.
Yeah.
We should be like McDonald's. We should be able to go to Japan and get the same Big Mac. Right? Somebody should be able to come to Israel as a believer, coming and getting the same food.
Okay.
coming to have the same menu, right? Because he's literally said right here, one mind with one mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Glorify Elohim, even the Father of our Adonai, Yeshua HaMashiach.
Mm-hmm.
But because remember, we said the mind, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speak.
Okay.
And that's why he's telling us deal with our mind first.
Yep.
Right. And then our mouths will actually, but it's our mouths that actually regulate what we deal with on this life. In other words, once that thing comes out of our lips, it's fruit.
It's
fruit.
mm-hmm.
Right? It's just like the brain, you can have your thoughts all you want. Right? But let's say if something is sowed in your mind, wickedness or evil thoughts about your brother, right? And the minute you start speaking, it brings forth death.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Because you can actually begin to be because we will eat what? The fruit of our lips. So, but it's okay, my bad. Go ahead.
So Pa'ar is to beautify, is to glorify the leader since the beginning. You see that? By way of your lips, by way of your words. So when we going in talking about we need to go into a season of praise, that's what he's calling for us to Pa'ar. Just like when you actually go to another root of Pa'ar is Pa'er. Pa'er actually means a turban or a covering.
Mm.
So that means by way of your word, you can actually receive a covering. If you speak over somebody's life, you can speak a covering of protection over them by using his word. And you know who noticed the best? Witches, warlocks. They know once Yah's word is spoken, they can't touch you. If you actually ever watch the testimony of a real witch or warlock, they'll tell you that there are certain people they can't touch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they know who they can't touch. Mm-hmm. They can't touch it. And that, believe it or not, that's Christians included. Some Christians who really have a true, pure, devoted heart to Yah, witches can't touch them.
And remember, the word mixed with faith has the power.
Yeah.
See, your faith is mingled in it. That because faith is what? The substance. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? So when you speak your word with faith, it gives substance to that faith. Faith is what gives your word substance.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why Elijah was able to say, at my word, it's not going to rain.
Okay. Yep.
Right? Because he was so Echad with Yah and Yah's will. When he spoke, his faith was mingled in his words.
Mm-hmm.
See, sometimes Yah will tell you to go say thus and thus and thus, but then Yah will also tell you to speak. Speak according to my word, because what? Mm-hmm. I've given you the keys.
Okay.
To shut up heaven and earth.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You can actually have the authority to shut up heaven and earth. Yeah, I tell you, go ahead. You my people. You got the keys. You see what I'm saying? The keys of David actually had that life, that authority on the world to actually shut and open up doors.
Okay. Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So but Yah don't want you. He hates unbelief too.
Yeah.
Don't speak his word without conviction.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you don't want to speak his word out of season.
Yeah.
You don't want to speak something in his name that he hasn't declared.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So it's things we have to be. There's things that we have to evolve into as far as a maturity of understanding where you're at with Yah.
Mm-hmm.
But the most powerful tool we got is our mouths.
Okay. Okay. The next word is Pa'adan. Everybody say Pa'adan.
Pa'adan.
Pa'adan actually means yoke. Pa'adan means yoke. Mm-hmm. Now we hear Yeshua say, what about yoke? What does Yeshua say about yoke? Yoke. I iron a yoke. What did he say about yoke? He said, my yoke is lighter. And the thing about yoke is, where is it actually wrapped around? This is interesting. Where is the yoke wrapped? It's wrapped around the neck. And what does the neck have? It has a what? A throat. It's a language that yields sound. So let's go to Jeremiah 28.
That's good stuff right there. Jeremiah what?
28. Let's see what y'all say. We're gonna start at verse 1.
1 and
You're gonna start at
28.
28:1. So look, when you break down Padan, the Hebrew letters is Peh, right? Aleph, Dalet, and Nun. What does Peh mean again? Mouth. Aleph means what? Strong ox leader, teacher, chief. Dalet means what? Door or gateway, path. Nun means what? Seed. You see? By his word, the leader who stands at this door guards the seed. Now, who said they were at the door? Hamashiach. For I stand at the door. I am the door.
and I'm not.
So when you see, it is his word that actually is supposed to govern the seed, no different than a plant. When a plant in its embryonic stage has a hard shell around it, that's what that seed represents, because in that hard shell is the life. That's the production of that seed. So his word is supposed to represent that shell that encapsulates or covers the life thereof, which is that seed. So when we actually put on Mashiach's yoke and we are breaking the yoke of bondage or of our captivity, we are now under the protection and guardianship of his word. Let's go to verse 1.
The book of Jeremiah, 28:1. And it came to pass the same year in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year and in the 5th month, that Hananiah, the son of Azur, the prophet, which was of Gibeon, spake unto me in the house of Yahweh, in the presence of the priests, and all of the people, saying,
No. So now Hananiah, this is a prophet. He had the authority not only to speak in front of the people, but he was actually speaking in front of the priests, who was supposed to be the lead intercessors for the people. There was the actual anointed authority that was able to speak for Yah in the presence of the people. So this prophet, so that shows you actually the placement of the prophet in Yah's sight. That even the prophet actually has an ultimate authority to even speak over the priest. Let's keep going.
Thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, saying, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon.
You see that? So by his word, that's right. I mean, there's so much going on. So by his word, remember he said when Yah speaks, it comes to pass. So when you allow Yah's word to move in your life, he's able to break off the yoke of Babylon off you. He's able to break the yoke of Egypt off you. He's able to break the yoke of Persia off you, and you then come under the yoke of his kingdom, which is much lighter. That makes sense? What y'all got going on, man?
I ain't on camera.
I should say it's a lot of moving. They distracted by you. Everybody understand? So let's actually get into the lesson. So let's go to Matthew 12.
Hold on, we got to go there.
What?
We got to go there a little bit more. Within the 2 full years, I'm sorry, I will begin in the place. Now, remember, we got to remember, I'm sorry. We got to remember that I ain't going to take this. The first time I ever do this will be the last time. But this is some meat you leaving on the bone.
I got you.
You leaving some meat on the bone. We got to understand that Hananiah, he actually was a prophet of Israel, but he was literally trying to prophesy against Jeremiah. Remember this. He breaking the yoke that Jeremiah came in with, and trying to say that he's trying to take his word, he's trying to use his word and use his authority to usurp what Jeremiah did, which Jeremiah was actually sent by Yah to actually declare and decree judgment on the king of Israel. He's breaking the yoke. He broke the yoke as if, oh, this word ain't gonna stand. Right. But then guess what Jeremiah comes back with? He's giving something. He comes back with a yoke of iron. He said, just as you broke, we said, oh, you want to break yokes, huh? He said, now guess what? Because of that, now I'm put on a yoke of iron. You listen to him, he put on the yoke of iron, which means that, oh, that thing was solid now.
Yeah.
Like Jeremiah saying, break this.
Mm-hmm.
But you're showing that Yah, when Yah sends a particular prophet, this is why I always say Israel has prophets.
Yep.
But not all prophets are prophets of Yah.
Cain. Yep. Mm-hmm. Cain.
Yah can use prophets. In other words, some people may have the ability to prophesy, but not all prophets are necessarily sent.
Yep.
So Jeremiah had the authority to override. Hananiah thought he had the authority to override Jeremiah's prophecy.
Right.
Jeremiah said, "No, I'm going to send back." Because remember, Yah sent lying spirits over them too.
That's a fact. Yeah.
He sent lying spirits over them so they'll prophesy lies. I'm sorry.
No, you good. You good. Let's go to Matthew 12. I think that's actually a good point of why we should be more going to the whole point of the lesson is being careful what we speak. Because you can be speaking ideas versus Yah's word. You can be speaking inspiration versus Yah's word, which is why you see the abundance of what they call, what's the title? Influential speakers.
Prosperity teachers.
Prosperity teachers, right? Because they're able to persuade the people's mind. Even as Hannah did, or even as that one guy who tried to instill fear in Israel at the gates. See what I mean? So this is why you must know Yah's word to know who's even actually rightfully speaking Yah's word. You know what I mean? Because remember, a prophet can come in the name of a prophet.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But does your name even carry that type of authority? You can have Yah or El in your name, don't mean that Yah El really in it.
Remember those the sons of Sceva, they was trying to use the name of Christ.
Yeah.
And they had authority, and the spirit ate them up.
Yep.
Send them out there naked.
Let's go to Matthew 12 and 33.
The book of Matthew 12 and 3.
33.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Now watch this. There's a lot of people like to use this and not reading in its pure context. Come on.
The book of Matthew 12 and 33. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and its fruit corrupt.
Come on.
For the tree is known by his fruit.
Now, I want y'all to keep this in mind. I said the tree is known by its fruit. You cannot have good fruit and a bad tree. Neither can you have a good tree and bad fruit. The tree is only going to yield what it really is. Let's keep going.
O generation of vipers, how can ye being evil speak good things?
So what is he actually addressing? Is he addressing the houses they making? Is he addressing the land that they're getting?
No.
Is he addressing the phylacteries?
No.
What is he addressing?
The behavior, the character, the conduct.
Right, based upon what they're what?
The works, the fruit.
Speaking, right? He said, you being evil, speak good things. Come on.
O generation of vipers, how can you being evil speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh.
Right. So remember, the heart represents the what? The leg, the mind. So he's saying out of your consciousness, your mind, your mouth is really speaking what it is. And we see this multiple times. Let somebody talk long enough, they're gonna really say what they really feel. Believe it or not, it's only so long you can play the role before you slip up, whether that be because your age or you just ain't paying attention to reading the room. That you get to slipping up, right? So we're gonna know by how you speak whose you really are. Because we know a wise man knows when to speak and knows when not to. A fool constantly uttereth vomits at the mouth. He don't know when to shut the hell up. And the only time he is counted as wise is when he does shut up. Let's keep going. Oh, do you have something? Oh, okay.
A good man out of the good treasure of the heart, bringing forth good things. I'm sorry.
Now remember, he's addressing the mouth. So a good man out of the good treasure of his heart, bringing forth good what? Things, or what we can say is good speech. Come on.
And an evil man out of the evil treasure, bringing forth evil things.
Come on.
But I say unto you that every idle word,
every word,
every idle word,
every piece of land you till,
every idle word,
every house you be,
every idle word,
come on,
that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment.
You tell me, no matter how many lands or communities you develop, every idle word that a man speak, he shall take account of. I want every last one of us to consider our ways in this room and think about what we say on a daily basis, whether that be to each other or in secret. Every word that you speak that is idle. And what does actually idle mean? What does idle mean? Anybody know?
Fruitless, vain,
Hmm?
meaning nothing, useless, inactive.
Inactive.
Mm-hmm.
Inactive, right? So when you actually look at idle, another actual meaning means barren. So if your words is not actually bearing any good fruit, that means your words is actually barren, it has no life in it.
You can example like what it means to speak idle.
Simple example, let's say you're trying to get somebody to do something good. You're really trying to get it, but he's just not getting it. And you turn around and say, you a damn idiot. You just don't get it. What fruit can you really bear from that? What fruit can you get from it? Huh? Or your wife pissed you off and you saying you acting like a damn Jezebel. What fruit can you really get from it knowing that you about to go to sleep with her anyway? That's at that point, that's really nothing but her ego kicking in. And you're not actually trying to establish, you're not trying to win her over. Just like when you go to Matthew 15, he said, if you have any ought with somebody, what you supposed to do? Go to him. And what's the thing you should be going in that situation trying to do? No, what does it say specifically?
Oh, win them over.
Win them over. But if you're trying to go into an argument or an issue with somebody because they don't get you, or they don't understand, they may not be trying to really hear you, and you go on allowing pride to lead you, pride leads into what? And destruction, is it life? Therefore, it's considered barren. So to to what you're asking, anything that you're not trying to produce life out of, even in a bad situation, is considered idle.
But see, if we could go add a little bit more to it, when he says out of the abundance of a heart, the man speaketh. So what's in your heart?
Yeah.
What's in your heart about your brother? What's in your heart about your wife? What's in the heart of your people, your co-worker, or whatever, right? And let's say, because how are we supposed to speak? According to what? To the oracles of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We're supposed to speak according to the oracles of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
So another word for idol is vain.
Yep.
We're supposed to not take his name in what? Vain or anything vain. So the idle words is fruitless words, because he's talking about fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mikael gave a good example of you actually speaking to somebody that's not going to be productive or bring fruit or help them change is an idle word. It's going to be brought into judgment. Because why? What is the intention?
Right.
What is the intention? What do you plan to get out of that?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with correcting somebody.
Right.
That doesn't mean that your words should not be. That means they have to be mushy and soft and gooey and make you feel good about everything.
Right.
But is it word that are there words that lead to repentance? Are there words that lead to, you know what I'm saying, restoring your brother? You know what I mean? Or even if it's to correct him or to convict him, it's the intention of the word. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
But we know when we want to be malicious. Sometimes we know, even in our joking, we know when we really want to break somebody down. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We know when we really want to hurt somebody's ego or deflate a man's ego. You know what I mean? Those are the idle words he's talking about. Are you there to break your brother down?
Okay.
Are you there to hurt him?
Yeah.
Because words are, they say sticks and stones may break your bone, but words, that's the biggest lie that's ever told.
Facts.
That's the biggest lie that's ever told. Because it's words, you can actually destroy people's, you could destroy people's self-esteem, how they see themselves, and how they see, especially how they see Yah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Every day we can make somebody feel unworthy of Yah's goodness or his mercy by speaking curses over them.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? What if Yah has got a hold of a Gentile, and that Gentile literally is giving their heart to Yah. And you turn around and say, you going to hell, devil.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying? Well, you ain't going nowhere, devil. You go be in chains. Because that's what the words say.
Right.
But then if we really read, he said, one that is a stranger, you should grab a hold of him that is a Jew.
Yeah.
He said, lead me to your God.
Yeah.
Huh? What if that Gentile's in full repentance and you done damned him?
See that? So when you look at the bigger scope, we said about the nation of Israel, those who are literally, you know how many souls have turned away by the mouths of so-called prophets?
Yes.
Today. And guess what? They're going to have to give an account.
They got to give an
for
account.
even the Gentiles they have caused to turn away because of hate speech. This ain't about no cooning or shucking the job, and this is a fact that all shall confess and all shall bow. You can't get around that. We even see Paul respectfully checking the Gentiles of not talking against us.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? So it's no respect of persons. It's not to be gushy and soft. But if the whole point is to bring somebody into repentance and Yah, you have to be careful of your words. Because your words literally have the power to produce life and death. Let's even go to one deeper. Our children. How we talk to our children. Especially today when we know that we're there in a confused society where they're even challenged to know if Yah is real or if we're even doing something wrong. You are the first representative. Woo-wee. You are the first representative to represent Yah.
That's a fact.
You are. How you talk to them, you are saying that that's how God feels about me.
Mm-hmm.
How you treat them, you are saying that that's how Yah feels about me. And if that's the case, I don't want to serve that God. Now, don't get me wrong. Every child is not, just to be honest, it's not meant for this life. It is what it is. That's not our call nor judgment. But it is your job to represent your Father in heaven very well. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So let's keep going. Oh, you have something?
Sky had his hand up.
I was just gonna say what's the significance of idol and idolatry?
Idle means to be stagnant or to be still or to be non-productive. Idol, I-D-O-L, represents a telephone or it's a figurine or it's something. It's a doll, right? It's an idol. Does that make sense?
Right.
Like a car when you're not moving your car.
Okay.
That's idle. If you had a stoplight, that means to be idle. I-D-L-E. When you got an idol, that means something that was made or erected to be a god. Something like him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We're going on.
So let's read 35 again. We can go to 37.
Matthew.
Yep.
Go back to 35.
Or actually 36.
Okay. But I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give an account thereof in the day of judgment.
Watch this.
For by thy words thou shalt be justified.
Watch this. Works.
Justified by your words.
By your words you shall be justified. By your words you shall be justified. And by your words you should be what?
Condemned.
So that shows you that your words, I keep turning the light off on me. Your words is going to testify for you against you on that day. How you spoke to your wife, how you spoke to your husband, how you spoke to your children, how you spoke to your parents, how you spoke to the stranger. You will give an account for on that day. Because you were chosen and called, whether you like it or not, to represent Yah to all the world.
He said you are a nation of priests. I mean, a nation of prophets and priests.
Mm-hmm. And priests, remember, Paul, you actually have been given the authority to speak his word. Mm-hmm. So when you were called into this covenant to be a kingdom of priests, you were also given the accountability and responsibility and authority to speak his word to all nations. So when you find yourself being confused and going back and forth or just not being worried, you say in your mind, today I just wants to be a nigga. You actually don't have that room. Because every day you are a representative. Every day you're a warrior. Every day you're a soldier fighting this battle against good and evil. This is no longer about black and white. That was nothing but the buildup of the real war. That was a battle. We in the war now. The war is against the children of darkness versus the children of light. And we fight not only by way of Yah's spirit, but we use his word as a defense. We use his word as a defense and put on the whole armor of Elohim, the breastplate of righteousness, and the helmet of salvation. You see that? These are spiritual protections by way of his word that you use. Just like when we go to 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Right? You're supposed to bring your disobedience into what? And you're supposed to also bring it into captivity by way of his word. So now imagine you on a day-to-day battle, you having these mental crises, these spiritual crises. You can't figure out why. Maybe it's because you're not using his word as a defense. You sitting here talking to the devil like he an actual nigga.
Hey. Devil don't care about you cussing him out.
He don't care about none of that. He don't care about you burning no sage.
Right.
He don't care about you burning no frankincense. He don't care about you cleaning your space because he still at the end of the day see a dirty nigga. He still see a filthy house. You done cleaned your whole natural house as if your internal house ain't dirty. He just sitting there like, look, well, thank you for cleaning the house so I can make a bigger mess. It's okay. You done clean the house. I'm gonna put this dirty spirit in your wife.
He said,
she gonna dirty it up.
The outside is clean. You looking good, but that inside, oh boy. Let me come on in there and make sup in there. Yeah, it look good and dirty in there. Boy, you got all kind of profanity. You got all kind of pornography. You got all kind of like, bro, you done made, hey. This home look like a mansion.
Exactly.
You know? I can work with all this filth in here.
Let me bring 6 other homies.
Let me get 6 others in here. We gonna cohabitate here.
Let me get 6 other homies.
This Negro love lying.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm the father of lies.
Right.
Oh man, let me pull up. That's a 100-inch screen right there.
Exactly. That man reading that word like he about to use
it. Hey, man. This thing, you know you a bot. You just walk around, he controlling you. You got all this shit. He got murder in his heart.
Yeah.
Look at him.
You think the Satan don't know that you're dealing with that? And believe it or not, your thoughts speak too. Why you think Mashiach knew that they were speaking against him? They didn't even say nothing out loud.
Said their thoughts.
Their thoughts were loud. If a man even think about committing adultery, he has already did it in his what? Mind. Because the reality is your thoughts is loud. There's some Negroes who can't even hide their thoughts. It's all over their damn face. That's a fact. So don't think that you can actually hide from yourself. I always tell people, there's 3 people you can't lie to. Really 4. You can't lie to yourself. You can't lie to your body. You can't lie to God. And you can't lie to Satan. Your body gonna tell that you a gluttonous Negro. Your mouth gonna tell that you a foul Negro. And y'all already know, he's far away. This Negro too dirty. Satan's sitting there playing hopscotch with your mind. Yes, sir.
Your thoughts is kind of like, you ever read comic books? But like when they
the bubble?
Yeah, the thought bubble.
Yeah.
They see that.
Facts.
They can't hide none of that.
Facts.
He don't even gotta see him. He gave them to you.
That's a fact.
He said them. You all in your ear. Man, cuss that nigga out.
You gotta rebuke that thing.
Hey, man, cuss him out.
Yeah.
You know he don't like you, man. You know that man don't like you, man. Look at the way he's looking at you every time you come in. He just smiled at me. No, brother, that wasn't a smile, man. That was an upside down sad face, brother.
Right.
You get all in your head. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But that's why he actually tells us. He said, we all once had our communication, our conversations with Satan.
There you go. Yep.
You know what I mean? Saint being there cooking us. You know what I'm saying? We all had those conversations. You know you had a conversation with Satan based on your communication. Evil communication corrupts good manners, right? Your communication not in what you say, but your lips. When that man said he go kill you, he said, I will shoot you in your face. That man, his actions followed his words. Because he had murder in his heart.
Okay.
Huh?
It was already there.
It was already there. Murder was already in him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When our hearts set out to do something, hey, it's only a matter of time before our actions follow.
Okay.
This is why Mashiach said if a man has committed adultery, and he's already committed adultery in his heart. You see what I'm saying? When he's looking on a woman.
Yep.
Huh? So guess what ended up happening? You just start following out. Like I said, next thing you know, you pulling up. You know what I'm saying? You waiting for occasion where the brother's wife is off in the kitchen and all the men over there talking. Hey, sis, can I get a cup from you?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Next thing you go from a cup. Hey, sis, you looking nice today. I just wanted to say that to you.
Right.
Just said, okay. Okay, brother, thank you.
Right.
She didn't rebuke him. You know what I'm saying? All the time he looking at the brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he plotting. He go in. Next thing you know, it's going to be more conversation.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? Because this adultery's already in his heart.
Brother,
He's going to already start working his way to it because now his mind is already in. So he didn't already perform the adultery in his mind. Man, I just got to work through it now. Now all I got to do is make it pop. And so, you know, he becomes like saying, hey, sis, everything good? It seems like I know. The other day, you and the brother was just arguing a little bit. Y'all didn't really say much to each other that day. I just want to make sure everything good. Everything good, brother. You know,
get that bypassing the husband.
Yeah, man.
Ain't said nothing to him.
Huh? Oh yeah, man. You know how we do. I mean, come on, y'all know we do that. Like we did it before, didn't we?
Right.
Huh? Huh? Come on, we ain't speaking no French here.
Right.
We speaking niggas.
Hey man,
You know what I'm saying?
We is speaking nigga.
Yeah, we know how to make it pop. You know what I'm saying?
Talk.
All we gotta do, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bro, all we gotta see is wounded prey.
That's it.
If the prey limping,
Oh yeah.
oh, he said,
Get the licking his
you know what I'm
chops.
saying? He's licking
Licking them chops. Then the next thing you know, the minute he find out, I heard what happened, sis, y'all. Divorce, you good? You need anything?
Good.
Nah, he like, it's on the hunt. And that's the reality, bro. That's the reality. That's the reality, man.
And the Malkut we tell on ourselves.
That's a fact.
Huh?
That's a fact.
Man.
Yeah, the truth.
You know what I'm saying? And that mouth just starts, next thing you know, it just starts planting seeds.
Turn into an R&B.
Yeah, man. Hey, bro.
Better.
Yeah, oh man, you talking about turn what you say, turn into Joe?
Turn into an R&B.
Because all Joe talk about is covered in another man's wife.
You already know that's the one right there.
Yeah.
Get the Mari in her.
Hey, man,
panic down,
you know what
man.
I'm saying? Tearing down her defenses.
Yeah. She's sitting there just vulnerable.
She's
Considering everything.
Yeah.
Should I tell him the way he's doing it? I mean, it
Yeah.
sound good, man. What I just went through, that sound a lot better.
Right.
I'm telling you, man. But that's the reality, man. Or let's see another side of it. Brothers getting the other brother's ear about another brother. That's a reality, man. So even to the hearer of that word, it's still your responsibility to rebuke this. Hey, man, I don't want to hear that, man. That's between y'all two.
That's a fact.
That's between y'all two, man. Because remember, if he utter it and you hear it and you don't say nothing, it's on you too. Matter of fact, the word say you will receive double for that offense. Because you were supposed to, you rebuking that brother actually saves that brother. It tell you that in Ezekiel, by blood being on the hand, and you're not telling them. Yeah, open rebuke is better than secret love. You can save a brother's life like that. So don't ever be scared to speak Yah's word, even if it's in a sharp rebuke. And I don't mean sharp rebuke like again, like you call somebody an idiot or a dummy, but like, no, that's not the way you do it, not according to the word. Because you can save a brother's life and keep him out of an offense. Because they tell you in the word that if you have any offense with your brother, you can't even bring a gift to the altar. A gift can be your prayer.
First thing you say, did you go to that brother?
Yeah. Did you go to him? And people try to mask,
I think Elder was talking about me in the lesson today.
yeah. Well, I get to say, oh, well, you know, I was just trying to get counsel first. The counsel's in the word.
Right.
It says go to him first. That's your first counsel. Then it says bring somebody else. So we don't know. It's those little subtle things that can get us out of line, and our words can cause division. Because guess what? Let's just use another scenario. Let's just use me and Elder. If I go to me and Elder and I talk about Shalom, and he's weak enough to listen to me and abide, and now I got him looking at him wrong, I put him in sin. I put him in sin because I didn't want to deal with him directly. You got to do all things in decency and order, including how you got your mouth.
Brother smile too much, man. He's smiling all the time, man. You can't trust no brother that's always smiling. That man always smiling. You know what I'm saying? He never unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. I'm leery of them kind of brothers. Man. Them kind of brothers, when they smile like that, it's not the fact that they just smile. How he smile.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
We had Matthew 7. We had 13. Matthew chapter 7, verse 13.
7:13. Enter ye in the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat.
Keep going.
Because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few be there that find it.
Come on.
Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Now, why is he addressing the prophets first? Why is he not addressing everybody? Why?
Mouthpiece.
Because they're the mouthpiece. And because the reality is the representative spokesman was always the ones who led the people astray or led the people to Yah and green pastures. So he's addressing, yes, it's false prophets, but let's put this in a bigger scope. He's addressing those who are considered spokesmen for Yah. Leaders, elders, morays, chiefs, husbands. Are spokesmen for Yah. And to come in sheep's clothing mean they are disguised. They are fitting in the bunch. They're able to creep through the cracks. And you're not going to be able to tell them. You're not going to be able to tell the difference between them and the regular sheep. He said, but inwardly, meaning their inward parts, right? And we know the inward parts, he's talking about the heart, which is the mind. But inwardly are raven and wolves. Keep going.
You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles?
Come on.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
Come on.
A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
Come on.
Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
Come on.
Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them.
Keep going.
Not everyone that saith unto me, Yahweh, Yahweh, or Yahweh, Yahweh, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
You see that? So just because you speak his name doesn't mean your heart is actually in match with your word. So just because you call upon his name doesn't mean that you have been given authority to speak it. And because you speak his name, don't mean you truly bearing good fruit worthy of repentance. Keep going.
Of heaven, but I'm sorry, I'll start that over. Not everyone that saith unto me, Yahweh, Yahweh, shall enter. Yahweh.
You trying to bring it together.
Yeah, man. Let's use that music, man. Yeah, brother. Yahweh shall enter into the kingdom of heaven.
Come on.
But he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven. That's it, right?
Keep going, but let's talk about that. Remember, what is part of his will? What did he tell the disciples to do? Go out and what? Spread the gospel, right? How do you spread the gospel? By your mouth. So part of his will is what? Speaking his word, speaking the oracles. But if you're not speaking the oracles, meaning you can't speak good fruit, but be a bad tree.
I need to redeem myself. Let me read that up. Not everyone that says unto me, Yahweh, Yahweh, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven.
Keep going.
Many will say to me in the day of Yahweh, Yahweh, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works?
Hold on, stop. So what are they really saying? They're saying we did these things. Have we not in your name prophesied? So they obviously had the power to prophesy. Have we not cast out devils? So they had the power to cast out devils and done many works. So when you're talking about that the works itself define the fruit, we're seeing right here that that's not the only thing that defines fruit. Because the fruit of your lips have to actually match the fruit of your hands. And both of those must come from the tree of your mind. That makes sense? Let's keep going. Last verse, 23.
And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity, or ye that work lawlessness.
You see that? So it's not just about you being able to build things or bring people together. Your word is supposed to be able to be life unto people, to produce actual good fruit in them so they can multiply what you put in them. But if you're putting fruit that's not bearing real seed, then they're going to be barren. They're going to be barren. I believe part of why you may see some women in the scripture that was barren was either due to their own faith and them speaking, and this is me speaking, my theory. I believe that part of why some of them was barren is because Yah had to show them they had to produce more faith even in their word towards themselves. Or the other side could be their husbands had to be speaking more life into them. You get what I mean? Even when I look at the situation with Hannah, she had to end up going to a place of showing herself to Yah and going to the temple herself to show Yah that she was ready to have children. And she had to make a vow, obviously that her husband acknowledged, to stand so she could actually fulfill that vow that she gave. And she fulfilled it. Because your word does stick. And we're going to actually go into stories, good and bad, where you got to be careful of even the vows that you make. Because your vows, believe it or not, can also attach your family to your vow. And we're going to see that. So let's go to Proverbs 18. Proverbs 18 and 21.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof.
So you see that it is your tongue that bears fruit. We've established that, right? So let's go to Ephesians 6. Let's go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17. Your tongue can bear fruit, and it can either bear fruit of destruction or fruit of life. Right? It tells you, I believe in Proverbs, that your tongue can be as the tree of life. Let's keep going. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 17.
And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Elohim, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Ruach.
You see that? In the what?
Ruach.
So when you pray, it should always be in the what?
Ruach.
The Ruach. Come on.
And watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all sakes.
Come on.
And for me, that utterance may be given unto me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel.
Why is he saying that? Come on.
For which I am an ambassador in bonds.
And what?
In bonds.
What's another word for bonds? Chains or Adam, which is what? Yoke. For I'm an ambassador in yoke. I am in the yoke of Mashiach. Therefore, because his yoke is upon me, I've been given the authority by way of my mouth or throat to speak his word boldly.
Okay.
Come on.
In bonds, that therein I may speak boldly as I ought to speak.
You see that? So let's go to Isaiah 50. unless you got something to say to that. Isaiah 50. We're gonna start at we're gonna read verse let's see. Let's start at verse 1. We start at 1.
Isaiah 50:1. Thus saith the Yahweh, where is the bill of your mother's divorcement? Whom have I put away? Or which of my creditors is it to whom I have sold you? Behold, for your iniquities have ye sold yourselves.
By your what?
Sold yourselves for your iniquity.
Come on.
And for your transgressions is your mother put away.
Y'all know what the mother's talking about who? Jerusalem, right? Come on.
Wherefore, when I came, was there no man? When I called, was there none to answer? Is my hand shortened at all that it cannot redeem?
Come on.
Or have I no power to deliver? Behold, at my rebuke, I dry up the sea.
Come on.
I make the rivers a wilderness. Their fish stinketh because there is no water and dieth for thirst.
So we see one side, and when he rebukes by way of his word, he's able to take away life. He's able to bring drought and famine. Come on.
I clothe the heavens with blackness, and I make sackcloth their covering.
Come on.
The Yahweh Elohim have given me the tongue of the learned.
Of the what?
The learned.
Now, what was the name? What was another definition of disciples?
The learned.
The learned ones. But what were they learning? Well, obviously, it wasn't the gospel. The gospel wasn't there.
You said,
The disciples. They were learning of Yah's word by way of the prophets. You see that? So they have learned the ways of the learned ones, or the Talmudim. Come on.
The Yahweh Elohim have given me the tongue of the learned, that I should know how to speak a word. How to speak a word in season.
So the only way you know actually how to speak his word by learning from the what? The learned ones, or the learned, which they were learning what? Torah. They were learning of the prophets. So you would actually know how to speak a word in a season. Come on.
To him that is weary.
To who that?
To him he speaketh the word. To him that is weary.
So you see the whole purpose of when he calls you into his domain to be a spokesman and a representative, it is for you to speak to the weary. It is for you to speak the cause of the poor and the brokenhearted. That is your sole purpose of being here. When he dispersed us even to these Americas, the deeper meaning was not just captivity, but we were seeds of his word being planted. So when we risen up as trees, the fruit that we bear came by way of our mouth to all nations. The whole captivity or being dispersed was not just simply about captivity or being in bondage. But the bigger scheme was when he was time to raise up those dry bones, that the word was going to overflow and fatten the bones so that you can be life to other people. That was the purpose. So yeah, when we was talking about on the Wednesday night call, we gotta be in a position to give your life up for the kingdom of Yah's sake. What you were speaking, your way of thinking back then, should not be your way you speaking your thoughts now. Your whole life should be circumferenced around building the kingdom of Yah. And part of that building the kingdom is by way of speaking his word, speaking life unto others by way of his word. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Keep going.
He wakeneth morning by morning. He wakeneth mine ear to hear as the learned.
As the what?
As the learned.
Right, come on.
The Yahweh Elohim have opened mine ears.
Who opened his ears?
Yahweh.
Come on.
And I was not rebellious, neither turned away back.
See that? So the way you are able to embody Yah's word is to allow his word to overtake you, overtake your mind, overtake your mouth, overtake your lifestyle. Because you are supposed to be an embodied image and likeness of his kingdom on earth. You are his mouthpiece on earth. You understand that? Because the reality is he meet men where he at, and the reality is men still leans to flesh. So he used that as his advantage to get his word across.
And as well, this is actually a prophetic proclamation of Mashiach when he's saying he turned not his back. And Yah actually gave him, and he said, I gave my back. So he turned not his back by knowing that he had to be persecuted.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I gave my back to the smiters and my cheeks to them that plucked my hair off. So they basically pulled hair off his cheek.
Mm-hmm.
I hid not my face from the shame and the spitting. For Yahweh Elohim will help me, therefore shall I not be confounded. Therefore have I forgot where I was. I think just blanked out. 7. Hold on. I'm sorry, y'all. For Yahweh Elohim will help me, therefore shall I not be confounded. Therefore have I set my face like a flint, and I know that I shall not be ashamed. So basically, this is actually speaking of Mashiach and how he spake and how he learned from the Father straight on, and he did exactly everything Yah told him to say according to his word. Hallelujah.
Good. So we can go to James. We're going to go to James chapter 3, verse 1. James chapter 3, verse 1.
My brethren, be not many masters, knowing that we shall receive the greater condemnation.
So this is for any brother who aspire to be a teacher, any brother who aspire to be a prince, a chief, whatever accolade that you want to achieve or feel like you're called to. You should not be making haste to get this position. Even a husband, believe it or not, you should not be making haste to be that unless you're properly prepared and apt to do it. Because you receive the greater condemnation once souls are under you and you're in charge of those souls to make sure that they are being fed properly by his word. That the greater condemnation, it will be on you. Let's keep going.
For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body.
You see that? So if any man not offend in word, that same man is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the body. What does it mean to bridle? Take control. So what is he saying? If you're able to control your mouth, you actually can control every other body part. Every other body. You'll find a lot of brothers who lust are very anxious. They're very anxious. They talk a lot. They make hasty decisions because they hold a lot of impatience. They hold a lot of impatience. So you will see a man who's able to control his mouth can actually control anything. What do they always say? A man can have discipline in his mind. That man is a good man. Because that's the hardest thing to tame. Think about it. Your mouth and your mind is the hardest thing to tame. Can you really, how many of us struggle to really control our thoughts from wonder? You can control your thoughts?
No, I said, no, you asked how many you can control. I said I can't.
Oh, okay, okay. That's a hard thing. And it seems like when you try to control, the thoughts come a lot faster. The floodgates used to open. Now you thought, hold on, how did I go from point A to point B? Think about that. But that shows you how strong your mind is, and Satan knows that. Because he has to push more thoughts on you. Because once your mind get to wondering and you going down that valley of darkness, it's hard to pull back. It's at least enough to you stop all them thoughts. So if you're able to control your mind and you control your mouth, you can control the whole body, which means that you even able to have more control of your family, which should trickle to your leadership role to the nation. Let's keep going.
Behold, we put bits in the horses' mouths that may obey us, and we turn about their whole body.
Come on.
Texas brothers should know about that. Behold, also the ships which, though they so great and are driven of fierce winds, yet are they turned about with a very small helm, whichsoever the governor listed.
So what he's saying is this great big boat, right? They be great. And if you know anything about a boat, you've been on a boat, winds can actually take that boat wherever it wants. But it's saying that yet, because the small helm is actually controlled by this governor, is able to actually, even with those strong elements pushing against it or going against the natural elements, he's able to, or she's able to control it. Mm-hmm. And you'll see him actually comparing that in the next verse to what we're going to go into.
Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts of great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindles.
Ooh-wee. So just a little leaven in your tongue can kindle a big fire. You will never imagine that wild forest fire, how it really started. It was the smallest thing that may have caught on to a leaf or a branch that started a whole wildfire.
Yeah, I would like to speak. One of my first lessons I learned, I was probably about 12 years old at the time, probably even a little young, between 12 and 10. When Star Wars face came out, right? I know that's before all y'all. When Star Wars first came out, my mom was going to take my neighbor, my older brother's best friend, with us. And I was so excited about going, but what was going on, I forgot what happened. It had something to do with me just being a child and staying in my place. My mother, basically, something happened with money or whatever. So my mom, I forgot what my mom said, but I'm mistaking it that I thought I heard her say that he was supposed to give money to pay our whole way. And I said it in front of his mom. And his mom was like, what? Like, what? And I was excited, right? And so my brother and his best friend was sitting right there like, what you talking about? So this thing started a big old thing where his mom thought my mom was trying to get money to pay for everybody to go to Star Wars. So his mom was basically like confronting my mom, like, yo, you trying to use my son or whatever. And my mom like, well, what are you talking about? So my mom and this woman was going back and forth. All because I was not staying in my place as a child and I was speaking on something I didn't understand. And next thing you know, this me and my mom and this woman was about to fight behind this. And I learned that lesson, and that shut up. I was so embarrassed because then I got my behind whooped for saying something that wasn't even understood. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. But that lesson stayed with me. And then when I started reading the Bible, this particular verse stood out with me because it started a whole fire, right? Because I could not keep my mouth. I was saying something that was outside of my depth and understanding, right? Mm-hmm. And even in this, Yah is telling us, stay in your place. Don't speak things above your pay grade. Don't speak things above your maturity. Even spiritually, you can destroy something. You can cause a fire by your mouth. And you may not even mean it. You just could be speaking out of turn or out of the spectrum in which you're supposed to be in, right? So this comes back to me every time I read this, of how you can actually say the wrong thing and make the wrong thing happen. And it can change. It almost, for a minute, his mother, they had so much smoke, my mother didn't let him and my brother play for a little bit, like get along or whatever. So I'm just using that as an example. Any of us can do that. Mm-hmm. You know, our tongue is a very powerful thing. Very powerful. We can say things out of season, out of time, and even out of our understanding. Yeah. And just create a whole misunderstanding. Mm-hmm.
Hey, verse 5.
Okay. Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasts of great things. Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth.
Come on.
And the tongue is as a fire, a world of iniquity.
You see that? A world of iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
That's how much power your tongue has. It's a whole world of iniquity. It speaks lies and falsehood. Mm-hmm. It can be used for seduction. Mm-hmm. Eve was caught by a serpent talking to her. You see what I mean? We were infiltrated. Yeshua was taken by somebody speaking against him.
False report.
False reports. 250 men was killed because 1 or 2 or 3 men rose up and spoke falsehoods against Moses and Aaron. Aaron was seduced to make a golden calf. You see how dangerous the mouth can be, especially if you know how to really use it. This is why I say what? A soft answer turneth away what? So that's the other side of it too. That it can actually put the fire out. Because that's what wrath represents: fire, chaos, war, darkness. So a soft answer, meaning a smooth answer, can put the whole fire out. But the equal opposite side of that is it can cause a big fire. It can cause a whole war. Believe it or not. What movie was that? Troy. Remember the movie Troy? Remember when the brother wife got taken? And his brother used that after his brother came with that report and used smooth words to really talk him to really going into war so that he could ultimately conquer that whole kingdom and have all these nations under him. That's how simple a report or something being spoke of can change the whole dynamic of a situation. Especially when you go into the wrong people talking about it. So why you think it's a pandemic when you got a lot of women who marry talking to single women? The most dangerous thing you can do. Because one, how can she even speak from a perspective or a reality that she's not living?
Or even with the story, I think it was Rehoboam or Jeroboam, where he was taking wise counsel.
Yeah.
The elders. He basically took the wise counsel of the young men.
Yeah.
Claiming he came after that.
Exactly.
I always had a hard time with that playing football. Like my coaches would be like trying to tell me, you know, for like kind of way y'all how to tell me how to play. You ain't never played a down of football in your life. You just know the X's and O's and everything.
Yeah.
That's just like one of those things. Like you don't really know what you're talking about.
So even in counsel, and there was other scriptures we're gonna go through, but I just really want to get to the stories we're gonna get to for the sake of time. But even that, it tells you, in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. So being able to listen by the words of wisdom can save you. But just like the story you said, turning away from the wise counsels of men, elder men at that, and you fall into novices, young men, can cause you to go to wrath. So even in who we're listening to, we have to be careful. It's not always about just talking, but who you're allowing to plant seed in your mind. So remember, we're talking about fruit. Are they speaking? We have this conversation all the time, not talking to Yaakov, right? Even when it comes to us, we understand at the end of the day, the spirit must speak. And we always put on y'all, hey, listen, we can only speak from our experiences, right? At the end of the day, you got to be able to use wisdom and sift through the spirit speaking to you through our words and apply it to your situation. See, there's two sides to it. The word is a double-edged sword. It can cut you or it can heal you or protect you. Let's keep going.
And the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body and setteth on fire the course of nature. And it is set on fire of hell.
Come on.
For every kind of beast and of birds and of serpents and of things in the sea is tamed and have been tamed of mankind.
Come on.
But the tongue can no man tame.
Oh, wait.
It is an unruly evil. It is unruly. It is an evil, unruly evil. Let me try it over. I'm glitchy. But the tongue can no man tame. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison.
Full of what?
Deadly poison.
So that means if by man's will that your tongue is default poison, it is only by Yah's word that makes it something like medicine.
I want to go back to verse 7. He said, actually 6, where he says, right? The members that is defiled of the whole body and set on fire, the course of nature. Now think about that, the course of nature. And it is set on fire of hell. How many times have we said something wrong or something at the job or got an attitude and we got fired because of it? And we don't know that that set the course that we went on in a whole nother trajectory. Where we would have kept our mouth shut, we probably would have gotten someplace even faster.
Right.
Where we could have set the trajectory of our course and set it back almost from 4 months to 40 years, like our fathers did with murmuring.
Murmuring.
Right? And they murmuring, right? Where they changed the whole course of what was only the day's journey into 40 years. From murmuring. So how many of us have changed the trajectories in our lives because we could not stay humble and shut our mouths up?
That's good.
And blocking your blessing. And it's changed the whole course of your direction. Which it should have been a straight line, and then you never know, the following week you was gonna meet somebody that was actually that was supposed to be the door, the next door you were supposed to open. Now because you said something or you done something in your ignorance or in your folly, you done messed it all up. And so y'all say, you know what? So be it. I'll meet you back here in 40 years.
Right. And even a better point to add to what you're saying, going back to that the Hananiah situation, because you speaking against somebody, touch not my anointing.
Yep.
And you'll see scriptures where you will see David talking about those who speak against me, let their own words fall upon their head. This is why you gotta be careful, even when you speaking. You don't even know if they're praying the words. And now you've cursed yourself by your own words. Speaking against Yah's anointing, speaking against a situation that you don't understand, not knowing what trajectory or season that they're in their development towards Yah. But because you're seeing from the naked eye of a natural man and not seeing how he's seeing them, you think they're not going the way that you think they should go. That's why I said the message is convicted, because sometimes, let's be honest, we can see something like, man, that ain't right, man. What are you doing that for? You supposed to know that. You supposed to know that. And you talk, and sometimes we don't even know, are they going off? They by the wayside now. When y'all, it's not over until you're dead. You can always have a chance to repent. So this is why we have to be careful, even us. And for those who believe they're walking the righteous path, we got to make sure that our words don't cause us to go off course. And where we should have probably, where we was going next Friday, now you done pushed it back to 2030. All because you couldn't keep your, like you said, couldn't keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. So you change the whole course of your life with a whole direction. And y'all's basically saying now, like, like, you know what, man, you guys are just, you know, and then this is why we have to have respect for even leadership in our jobs. You may not like the manager, you may not like the person, but you don't know that door that person may have you in. You be on that whole, I'm a man, you ain't gonna talk to me any kind of way. You see what I'm saying? And then you get smart mouth, and then next thing you know, you don't understand why you don't understand why you got fired, right? Then you don't understand why it took you 10 months to get another job.
Right.
Then you got to go through a whole building process. You know, you can mouth off like to anybody, and you don't know what's lined up with them.
Okay.
And this is why we're recommended and admonished to what? He said, work as if you're doing it under Yah.
Okay.
Anything that we're attached to, we're supposed to do it as if we're doing it under Yah, because if we're doing it under Yah, Yah go tell you when to move. He gonna let you, he gonna release you, you gonna feel that release in your ruah out there. Okay, it's time to move on. You was faithful here, you did what you're supposed to do. Boom. Go on and go on, head out. Like, you good now. And leave there with shalom. Go with peace. You know what I mean? But what do? Us, especially as men, we get in our ego, we get in our pride. whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know that y'all could be just telling you to endure. Then we don't. But I just wanted to bring that out, how we could actually change the course. We change the trajectory of our next step or the next place y'all ask for us. Okay. And simply all we gotta do is look at our fathers by their murmuring. They constantly complained about everything.
Okay.
And he said, y'all, they provoked him to anger because they constantly whined.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all did everything. He done brought water out of a rock. You know what I'm saying? Like constantly complaining against his servant, man.
Okay.
Clothes, everything around you's telling that Yah's with you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and that's all from the time.
Okay. Verse 9.
Therewith bless we Elohim, even the Father, and therewith curse men.
You see that?
Hallelujah. Bless you, y'all, for giving me another day and this and this and this. But as soon as we get on the job, put on a whole nother garment.
Yeah.
Huh? Like, let somebody say something to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Let somebody do something to me. Let somebody give me a crazy look.
Mm-hmm.
Then actually, you know, somebody else. And this is me too. All of us is subject. So when somebody else come around, man, what do you think about the boss, man? That old sucker. You see what I'm saying? We start cursing, man. You know what I mean? We just had a good long prayer on the way to work. Yeah, the higher work. Hallelujah. You know, just taking music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you was the kid. Right. And as soon as you step in the warehouse, it's like, oh, or you step in the truck, whatever it is, whatever your occupation is. Yeah, then you looking around like, all right, nigga time.
Like switch your reality on when you go to work. Before when you go home, you don't know what you're doing at work.
Oh wow!
So when you go to work, you go to the elevator, and it's like, damn, ain't a whole.
Everything you did gets a whole nother work.
Right, you don't know what home and work is separate.
That's exactly what be happening.
That's what we done. That's why with the same tongue we bless Yah, but and they curse men.
They cussed up a whole
they cussed
storm
all day. All day.
Go right soon. We put a total about y'all. Thank you for letting me go.
Thank you for another day. Allow me to provide for my family. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, don't let it be a bad day. You thinking it was the right thing. I was talking to your wife about your bad day, cussing the storm up, man.
Hey, man.
So we at verse 10.
Uh-huh.
What do you say?
Out of the same mouth proceeded blessings and cursing my brethren, these things ought not so be so.
Well, you see what James is saying. You're not supposed to, the same mouth that you bless Yahweh, you shouldn't be using to curse man. Oh, wait. I told you it was convicted to be, right? I'm like, damn, I got to tighten up. Because the reality is, let's just be honest, we live in a stressful environment where it provokes you to anger every day. It provokes you to anger every day. It even tells you, the scripture say, when a man increases in wisdom, his sorrows increase. So the fact that you know you in captivity, you know that you shouldn't be working this job, you know that that you living in hell, and you still gotta be a part of. You still gotta have the fruit of the spirit. Ooh. And the hardest thing you gotta actually do in this life is tame. It's not even tame to say. You gotta be able to tame your tongue. You'll be saying, bless Yah and F your manager.
Yeah.
In the same tongue. We talking about praise the Elohim of the heavens, then go around calling women a B word.
Praise Yah, that nigga that got fired.
Right. All in the same sentence.
Oh, man. That's a heck of a word.
Yeah, ain't it? It's convicting because it's actually it's causing you to reach the standard of real perfection. That's to be able to tame your tongue. That's why I say what it say. He was able to tame his tongue is the same man as a perfect man. Because if you can tame your words, you literally can tame your whole body. You won't deal with lust. Because now you know you shouldn't be saying that to that woman. Ooh, you can actually tame your fist from punching somebody in the face because now you're taming your mouth to not say words of anger.
That's going to incite
It's gonna sight
That's
you.
gonna turn the whole body
Mm-hmm.
towards anger. You know what I'm saying? You keep getting riled up. You keep saying something. It's only a matter of time before you know what I'm saying. And we say it. Let that nigga say one thing to me.
Right.
Let that man say one thing to me. Today ain't today. You know what I'm saying? And that's the day.
That's why some Negroes in the faith got to stay away from liquor. They get to having that liquid courage.
Oh man, did they go
get to saying all the things of the heart.
Drinking that mockers drink.
Yeah, get to saying all the things of the heart, spreading everything out. Yeah, he about to say it all. About to say it all. You know what I mean? So,
verse 11.
Verse 11. Just keep going.
Does a fountain send forth at the same place sweet water and bitter? Can the fig tree, my brethren, bear olive berries? Either vine figs. So can no fountain both yield salt water and fresh water.
Verse 13.
Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of a good conversation his works with the meekness of wisdom.
So in your mouth, when you speaking of your words, it should be with meekness of wisdom. It shouldn't be boasting and pride. You could be speaking all the good things, but if you can know when somebody's speaking from ego and pride. And you know from that, you know you're speaking of the works of your own hands and not the works that Yah's put in you. See, it's not really hard to identify who's Yah's and who's not. They can be looking miraculous, got everything around them. Remember, they said, did not we cast out devils in your name, laying on the hands, speaking in tongues?
He didn't say, I know you not. He said, I knew you not.
I know you not.
I didn't know you. Even when you was doing this, I didn't recognize you.
So when people talk about that, these know that you had a Holy Spirit by just doing these things, we know that that's not according to the word. Because there were obviously people who were doing those things, and Yah said, I knew you not. Depart from me, ye workers of iniquity, because your mouth did not match your hands. Be ye not deceived when people speak of these things that they're doing with their hands. Because first of all, if you know anything, a prophet or anybody who was wise not going to be bragging about things they did of themselves. But they'll let a good report of others brag about them. Those who really do the work don't brag about that stuff. Because first of all, you know, and you bragging, that's for your own comfort and what's the word I want to use? And your own ego. So what? You can cast out devils. So what? You can speak in tongues. So what? You got land on. That means nothing if your mouth ain't matching your hands and you're not speaking with the meekness of wisdom. Because at the end of the day, your mouth is the last say so that's going to condemn you or justify you. You get from talking about praising Yah to let me lay hands on you. For your own pride. Not even for Yah's name's sake. It's for your own pride. We got to stop ego stroking, man. Because it's getting in the way of Yah's glory. It is. So now I'm going to skip. I was going to go to more verses, but we're going to get to some stories. Let's go to Susanna. You got that? Susanna? That's in the Apocrypha. For those who ain't got it. We gonna
let me see something. My pocket's upstairs.
Should have you get the Maccabees. I'll read it. So this is the book of Susanna, chapter 1, verse 1. It said, there dwelt a man in Babylon called Jehoiakim, and he took a wife whose name was Shoshana, the daughter of Kelkias, a very fair woman and one that feared the Most High. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the laws of Moses. And now Jehoiakim was a great rich man and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him that resorted the Jews, because he was more honorable than all others. The same year were appointed two of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wickedness came from Babylon, from ancient judges, who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Jehoiakim's house, and all that had any suits in law came unto them. Now, when the people departed away at noon, Shoshana went into her husband's garden to walk, and the two elders saw her going in every day and walking. Because remember, he said it starts. Yeshua said it starts in the mind, right? The man even thinking he've already committed adultery. So he said these two elders was watching her walk every day. This is another man's daughter. It's another man's daughter that they watching every day. He said so that their lust was inflamed towards her. Inflamed. Unbearable.
Bro, that was like Human Torch.
Yeah.
Flame on.
Right over there rubbing one. Don't even realize it. Verse 9. And they perverted their own minds and turned away their eyes that they may not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. So they made sure they shut up the word so they wouldn't even cleanse their mind. Now, how many of us have committed a sin and for your own sake, you say, I'm not going to even pray today. I don't even feel like I should be praying. I ain't going to use that word. I know I definitely did. But you know what y'all already showed me doing that? You don't realize you pushing me further away. Because it's in prayer and meditation in your word that the conviction starts to cleanse out that sin in you. So these men, so ain't nothing new. We all raise our hands, right? Ain't nothing new under the sun. They did the same thing. I don't even want to look to the heavens.
Them brothers said, I want to look at this.
Yeah.
I'm not. Because if I go look there, then guess what?
I'll go back.
You're going to take that desire away from me. I want this. I'm burning for this.
And they said, nor remember they, so they shutting up the book. I don't even want to look at the book right now. I know what I want. I got to have it. I want to have it, nigga. He know what he want. He said, and about it, they both were wounded with her love. This woman ain't said a damn thing to them.
Wicked imagination.
Wicked imagination. It all starts in the mind. And this is why, remember I said thoughts is language. Thoughts is words. You're speaking your own mind in your head. That's why you have to use the word to even defend against your own consciousness.
I act like we can't hear our thoughts.
Right.
We can't hear what we think.
Right.
We have whole conversations.
Whole conversations. And you didn't even realize you're going to spend 25 minutes talking to yourself in your mind.
Say what we do. First thing when you do something dumb, you say, why I do that?
Exactly. Why I do that? So he said, yet durst not one show another his grief. They're like, I ain't about to show you. I'm feeling bad about it. And we in this thing together. So he said, for they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And the one said to the other, let us now go home, for it is dinner time. So he said, so when they were going out, they parted the one from the other, and turning back again, they came to the same place. And after that, they had asked one another the cause, and they acknowledged their lust. So they left.
Why don't I say, hey man, I want to confess something. I've been thinking about Shoshana all this time.
Yeah.
You too?
You too, right? You too?
You too?
Yeah, right. A lot, man. Every day I've been watching how she walk, boy, and that ass, boy. I'm telling you. I mean, this how Negroes talk. That's how Negroes talk. And one of them like, shit, bro. I've been trying to look away, man, but I've been convicted, but I ain't want to look into that word because I knew I was wrong. But God damn it, I know what I like and I got to have it.
She out there is obvious, you know. She just happened to pass by, even if we standing in front of her doorstep waiting for her to come out. She know what she doing.
Right. Talking about, yeah, she's seducing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw her look at me a little bit.
Right.
I just didn't know.
Even if I'm hiding in the bushes.
Come on, you too? Yeah, man. I saw her. So it said, and after that, they had asked one another the cause. They acknowledged their lust. They appointed their time both together when they might find her alone. And it fell out as they watched a fit time. She went in as before with 2 maids only, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. So she would wash herself pretty much naked.
Wow.
So these boys having a reality porn right in their face, in their eyes. And there was nobody there to save the elders, that they hid themselves and watched her. Then she said to her maids, bring me oil and washing balls.
You gotta think about how Israelite houses, especially if they had bread, they had courts.
Yeah.
The house had courts. So within those courts, they would have gates. Like our fathers would build some nice houses.
Yeah, they would.
But they would have some courts, and then those courts, those gates will almost have like flowers or whatever. So yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And walls and stuff. So they had courts. So these men were literally watching inside their court, looking at it. Go ahead.
He said, and bring me oil and washing balls and shut the garden doors that I may wash. So it's not like she ain't trying to seduce, trying to cover up. I'm in my home. And I ain't thinking that no man gonna be around. I just know it's 2 women, so I'm gonna get comfortable. So she said, as they did, as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things that she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid.
Old men too.
Old men.
These are older men, yeah. These are elders.
He said, now when the maids were gone forth, watch this, the 2 elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us and lie with us. Now, first of all, not only are they trying to take another man's daughter, but they clearly trying to run the train.
These Negroes trying to run a train.
They trying to run. These are supposed to be judges and elders. Now, I want y'all to pay close attention to all the details of the story. He said, if thou wilt not, watch this, if thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee, that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee.
You're a black
Then
man.
Shoshana sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. But if I do this thing, it is death unto me. If I do it not, I cannot escape your hands. It is better for me to fall into your hand and not do it than to sin in the sight of Yah. So she declared by her mouth what it is with her. They declare by their mouth what it is with them. And
You gonna have to blackmail me.
Uh-huh.
You 2 niggas ain't getting nothing.
Right. Remember, it started in their mind. Out of the abundance of the heart, the what? Mouth speaking. So they already had a whole scheme. You gonna give us what we want, or we gonna lie against you? Because we know we let you go. We cook anyway.
Yeah.
So he said, then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy door to see what was done unto her. But when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Shoshana. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband, Jehoiakim, not her father, her husband. The 2 elders came also, full of mischief, imagination.
Sleeping. That's why she said it'd be death on her.
Yeah.
If she would have committed adultery, and then she was gonna get stoned.
Came. It said, full of mischief, imagination against Susanna to put her to death. Watch this. And said before the people, send for Susanna, the daughter of Chilias, Joachim's wife. So they sent. So she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Shoshana was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold. And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered. Which means, what does that mean? What does that mean? Right? No, she had children.
She was veiled.
Yeah. So that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore, so you see clearly this is a woman when she's out in the public, she covers her face. And I want to make something very clear, because most people think that this is a Muslim custom. It's not. It's a Hebrew custom. Now, are we saying this law? No. But the reality is that was part of our culture and custom, that a woman would cover her face. You know what I mean? And the reality is you got, I've seen sisters in the Hebrew faith mock Muslim women, but the reality is they're actually wearing your culture. They're actually doing what you should be doing. But you have no problem wearing a tight ass dress in front of Hebrew brothers. You have no problem wearing pants that show your curves in front of men. But you will mock and scorn Muslim women who wearing your culture. Shoshana understood that she was that beautiful. She not only honored her husband and her family, but she honored her community to make sure she never put another man in position of lust. Let's talk about it.
Man.
Let's talk about it. Because the reality is, women wearing certain things can cause a man to lust.
Hell yeah.
You can't sit here and say, well, Negro, you need to turn your mind. You need, yes, your mind disgusting. You need to turn away. How am I turn away from that thing looking like that? That's what men talk about. You got it all out there like you want that attention.
But they want to be treated holy.
Yeah.
That's dope how back in the day the women would cover up like this.
So we see Shoshana. That's not a Muslim thing. That's a Hebrew thing. See what I mean? But clearly, let's just be honest also, it didn't stop these men.
Because they was looking through the gate. These little nasty niggas was looking through the gate.
So they in the house watching her in the comfort of her own home. So it said this, therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head. And she weeping looked up towards heaven. So she did what they were supposed to do. She looked towards the heaven, for her heart trusted in Yah. And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden doors and sent the maids away. Then a young man who there was hid and came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden. First of all, that's how you know the people ain't listening. Why are you in the garden?
Why you in the corner?
So you saw the maidens close the door and didn't leave. But nobody questioned it because they were elders. So that shows you even the people's mindset, that they were letting these people give a false report. So it says, seeing this wickedness, remember I said it ain't just about the person
give
talking.
honor to the elders. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where these men are actually using their authority to attempt to deceive the people.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So it said, then we stood in the corner, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And we saw them together. The man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. Now, what's the problem with that? What's the problem? What's the problem? What was the original story about the doors? Who opened the actual doors to let them know what was happening? It said one of them old men ran off to open the door and called them. Why weren't the maidens understanding? Hold on, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. You actually called us in there and opened the door. See what I mean? So it says, but having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she would not tell us. These things do we testify. Then the assembly believed them, as those that were the elders and judges of the people. Now, as elders said, to their for the people, they're honoring their elders, right? But the point I'm trying to show in this story is that that's the power of the tongue. That even, again, dealing with authority, right? Leadership, spokesman, that you got to be careful what you say because you can kindle a fire, you can put the fire out. They clearly kindled the fire because they were burning within their own lust. So because they could not get what they want, they were willing to take another woman's life for the sake of protecting their own namesake. And the root of protecting that is pride. Pride. So it says, then Shoshana cried out with a loud voice and said, O everlasting Elohim that knowest the secrets, knowest all things before thee. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me. And behold, I must die. So who did she go to defend herself?
Yeah. She cried out.
She cried out in front of everybody.
Don't think it was no little weak cry either.
Nope. Mm-hmm. He said, thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die. Whereas I never did such thing as these men have maliciously invented against me. and the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, now again, when you're speaking in righteousness, Yah will always find some way to defend you. Always. So long as you speak in righteousness and use meekness and wisdom and use the fruit of the Spirit, Yah will always send something or someone to defend you. Yes, sir.
It's just like the king when y'all had confronted him basically when he tried to take Abraham's wood, he didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So he said, I didn't, pretty much the integrity of my heart. He said, I didn't know that was, his wife. And basically, y'all let him go from that.
Right. Okay. So it's,
if you realize these are the same nasty, wicked ass tactics that pedophiles use on children.
Yep.
I'll kill your parents, or if I tell them that I touched you, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you, nobody will believe you. And the sad part is because there's wicked people in the country, in the nation, and even in our families, a child can go to a parent and they won't even believe it. You see what I'm saying? They won't even believe if there's a molester, a cousin, or auntie, or uncle, or whatever. But they use those same threats against them children. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
The same spirit. Go ahead.
So for time's sake, pretty much.
Finish reading that.
You want me? Okay.
You gotta finish that.
I got another story I want to read, but we here now. Okay. All right. So
that knew the law.
Okay.
And that's why every man should really teach his woman Torah. Or allow his woman to actually learn Torah.
So it says, and the Lord heard her voice. Therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth. Remember, I said the Spirit speaketh through men. The Holy Spirit of a young youth whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, I am clear from the blood of this woman. Then all the people turned them toward him and said, what mean these words that thou hast spoken? So he's standing in the midst of them, said, are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel? So see, remember I said the onus is on the listener too. It ain't just on the elders, but it's y'all who hear the report. He said, because remember, silence is sometimes considered what? Agreement or simplicity. So they said nothing. Even the maidens who were there, who actually had more details of the story, did not speak on the glitches of their testimony. Nor did they even have an examination properly. They would listen to these elders' words and would just straight about to kill these people, kill this woman, without doing proper examination of the story. So he said, so he's standing in the midst of them saying, are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth, ye have condemned the daughter of Israel? So who is he talking to? But he's addressing who? Man. He said, ye sons. Because there's no man going to rise up to her defense. Not even her husband rose up for her defense. Her father, nobody rose up for her.
No, he probably feels all kind of insecure, the husband.
Yeah.
Somebody toe up right now.
But we have an example of somebody who had to get past that and deal with it, which is Joseph. So it says, is that without examination or knowledge of the truth you have condemned the daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her. Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elder said unto him, come, sit down amongst us, and show it us, seeing Elohim have given thee the honor of an elder.
See, they trying to use their role. They trying to use their status. Oh, since you smart, young man, come on over and tell us about it. Tell us about us. They trying to use their authority.
Okay. He said, then said Daniel unto them, put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them. So separate them. Let's see if they can stand by themselves. Let's see if their stories match up by themselves. That's wisdom. No different than what Solomon did with the woman with the babies. Remember that? Oh, well, let's cut the baby in half and split it. The one who was really going to cry and say, hey, no, just give it to her. Just get the baby to her for the child's sake. Oh, that's the mother right there. Because the reality is the truth going to come out.
When there's witnesses, especially if there's an accuser. Then Mashiach said, they're accusers, right?
Yeah.
So they have, you split them up so you can hear both their stories, see if their stories line up.
Okay.
We see that in modern day investigations.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. He said, so when they were put asunder one from another, he called one of them and said unto them, O thou that art waxing old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed aforetime are coming to light. So what is he saying? Oh, this ain't y'all first rodeo. What you've been doing through this situation is about to come to light now. He said, for thou hast pronounced false judgment and hast condemned the innocent and has let the guilty go free. Howbeit the Lord said, the innocent and righteous shall thou not slay. See that? So when you stick up and you speak in righteousness, y'all make sure you good. He said, now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me, under what tree sawest thou them companying together? Who answered, under a mastic tree? And Daniel said, very well, thou hast lied against thy own head. For even now the angel Elohim have received the sins of Elohim to cut thee in two. So he put him aside and commanded to bring the other and said unto him, O thou seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty have deceived thee, and lust have perverted thine heart. Thus have ye dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they fulfill company with me. But the daughter of Judah will not abide in your wickedness. Now,
So they was able to pull this on other women.
Yep, pretty much.
You ain't gonna play this with a daughter of Judah.
Mm-hmm. He said, now therefore tell me, under what tree didst thou take them company together? Who answered, under a home tree. So one said a mastic tree, another one said a home tree. Then Daniel said unto him, well, thou hast also lied against thy own head. For the angel Elohim waited with the sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With that, all the assembly cried out with a loud voice and praised Elohim, who saveth them that trust in him. And they arose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. By your mouth, your words shall justify you, and by your mouth, your words shall condemn you. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort as they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor. What I said? What you speak and try to curse on somebody, if they're anointed and protected, y'all will make sure you put it back on your own head. That's why you got to be careful who you put your mouth on, especially when you don't even know the full details of the story. Them people that was watching, they lucky the judgment didn't come upon their head for even accepting that judgment. Because technically they were supposed to be part of that. It tell you about is that Exodus 23? We're talking about those who bind themselves to that false report. That's Torah. So he said, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved in that same day. Therefore, Achilles and his wife praised Elohim for their daughter Susanna with her husband and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that day forth was Daniel and had a great reputation in the sight of the people. See that? When you stay and you use Yah's words, the oracles of Yah, whether that be to defend and protect, or at the end of the day, glorify Yah, even when people trying to shame your name, Yah will protect you. He will give you the authority to speak that word. Another one, but there's another example I want to use too. And this is going to be the last thing that we done. I want to go to Judges chapter 11. And this is deep. This is why, remember I said you got to be careful what you speak and what vows you make, because you could be putting other people bound to that word too.
One?
Yep.
Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah. And Gilead's wife bare him sons, and his wife's sons grew up, and they thrust out Jephthah, and said unto him, thou shalt not inherit in our father's house, for thou art the son of a strange woman.
Oh, so this was a man who was born, his mother was a strange woman. And because he wasn't of pure blood, they cast him out of his father's house. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there was gathered vain men to Jephthah, and went out with him. And it came to pass in the process of time that the children of Ammon made war against Israel.
Come on.
And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob.
Come on.
And they said unto Jephthah, come and be our captain, that we may fight with the children of Ammon.
Mm-hmm.
And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, do not ye hate me?
Did not.
Or did not ye hate me and expel me out of my father's house? And why are ye come unto me now when ye are in distress?
Mm.
And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, therefore we turn again to thee now, that thou mayest go with us and fight against the children of Ammon, and be our head over the inhabitants of Gilead.
So the side, that's not the point of the story I want to go to, but the side story that shows you that you shouldn't cast judgment on a person so quick, because you never know, you may need that person. You never know, you may y'all may actually cause you to go to that person in your time of need.
They say the same people you see, what that was saying? Don't burn the handle, and also bridges. Yeah, don't burn bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, if ye bring me home again to fight against the children of Ammon, and Yahweh deliver them before me, shall I be your head?
So hop down to 13.
Judges 11:13.
Mm.
And the king of the children of Ammon answered unto the messengers of Jephthah, because Israel took away my land when they came up out of Egypt from Arnon, even unto Jabbok and unto Jordan. Now, therefore, restore those lands again peaceably.
Mm-hmm.
And Jephthah sent messengers again unto the king of the children of Ammon,
Mm-hmm.
and said unto him, thus saith Jephthah, Israel took not away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. But when Israel came up from Egypt and walked through the wilderness unto the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, let me, I pray thee, pass through thy land. But the king of Edom would not hearken thereto. And in like manner they sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not consent. And Israel abode in Kadesh. Then they went along through the wilderness and compassed the land of Edom and the land of Moab, and came by the east side of the land of Moab, and pitched on the other side of Arnon, but came not within the borders of Moab.
So hop down to verse 28. So pretty much they're about to go to war, and Jephthah is actually leading them. They're not hearkening that, not trying to give up the land. So let's see what Jephthah do.
Well, remember, they resisted to come through. So actually the land they did get, because they gave it up because they had to fight. Okay. So they got next. You said 28?
Yep.
Howbeit the king of the children of Ammon hearkened. Now these are cousins.
Yeah.
Remember, Ammon is Lot's children. Ammon hearkened not unto the words of Jephthah, which sent him. Then the spirit of Yahweh came upon Jephthah, and passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpeh of Gilead. And from Mizpeh of Gilead, he passed over unto the children of Ammon.
Come on.
And Jephthah vowed a vow unto Yahweh.
Listen to this. Come on.
And said, if thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into my hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering.
Now y'all heard that, right? That was the vow he made. If you bring these people into my hand to destroy them, whatever I see first that's within my house, I will offer it up. He ain't make it clear what he was talking about. He just said, whatever I see, that's what I'm going to give you. Come on.
They really want to really make that clear. He said, whatever shall come to the doors of my house to meet me. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and Yahweh delivered them into his hands. And he smote them from Eror even till thou come to Meneth, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards, which a very great slaughter. Thus, with a very great slaughter, thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel.
Come on.
And Jephthah came to Mizpah,
Watch this.
unto his house, and behold, his daughter came to meet him.
Woo-wee.
With timbrels and with dances.
So remember his vow was, whatsoever come out to meet me at the door, that is what I will offer up to you as a burnt offering. This is why I always say, elder always say this too, you got to be careful what you vowing during the fast.
Back when she warns us to make vows. He said, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay, for any other thing cometh evil.
So you got to be clear, even when you making a promise to Yah, or you making an agreement in Yah's name, that you can actually pay the price of what you say you're going to do. That you can actually own up to what you said. This is even amongst men, you should do the same thing. You make a promise, it's your job to make sure you keep it no matter what your circumstances or situations is. Because the two greatest things you have on this earth is your name and your word. Oh, yeah. That's the two greatest things. Your name was more valuable in that time than gold and money. That was more valuable than gold. Today, they got money at more valuable than your name, but that shows you the integrity of men nowadays. That men can be moved by things that will rot away. When in reality, a name can last forever. It can last for a long time. The fact that we sitting here talking about Abraham, Isaac, they can tell you that. So this man made a vow that whatever come to meet me from my house, that's what I'm going to offer up to you. And sadly, it was his daughter. Let's keep going.
And she was his only child. Beside her, he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes and said, alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that troubleth me. For I have opened my mouth unto Yahweh, and I cannot go back. And he said, and she said unto him, my father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto Yahweh, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth.
Now, let's start real quick, right? As much as he is sad, what does that tell you about him as a father? He instilled good values to keep your word to the father. And him first playing the examples, I gotta do it. This reminds me of the story of Abraham and Isaac. If you go into like Josephus and like really read the man, Abraham was sad. See, it's not how you kind of read like in the you don't really see the emotion behind it, but Josephus and certain other biblical texts, you get to see more details of how he felt. And Isaac was willing. Yeah, he was broken up because that he waited almost 100 years for this moment. For this moment, and now you telling me I gotta offer up my only true son that's supposed to actually pass on the inheritance you give to me. That's how Jephthah feel. He like, this is my only child.
Even like you said, you can see that he instilled into his son. Because in Jasher, his son was like, do what you got to do, Dad.
Yeah, and what she said. She said, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto Yah, do to me according to that which have proceeded out of thy mouth. Man, I show you how they was raising our children, man. That Torah was the center of our life. It wasn't just no thing we read on the Shabbat. And we making a religious practice and quoting book, chapter, and verse. This was a lifestyle. This was a way of life. This is how we paid. We got everything. Everything was by his word. When we sat at the table at dinner, we speaking that word. When we came into the house, we speaking that word. When we leave out the house, we looking at the mitzvot. His word was embedded in every circumference of our way of life. And our children understood that by way of rites of passage. A bat mitzvah means, what does that mean? It means, or bat or ban mitzvah means son of my commandments. That was the whole point of the right passage, that you would show that the commandments was instilled in you. She showed that the commandments was instilled in her. That if you made that promise to Yah, I'm going to do what you promised. Y'all still want to put your mouth on anything, everything, and break your promise with y'all? That man was not considering everything in his house, unfortunately, in that moment. That's why as men, when we take on wives and children, you got to understand what you're causing them to bind themselves to. You actually causing them to bind themselves to your word. You're causing them to be bound to your word in the house. Your word is law. And if you don't have the wits about you, the spirit of discernment, the fruit of the spirit, to be able to properly manage and handle them by way of his word, then you are in danger of great condemnation. And whatever you say, you got to understand God is giving you the power to cause it to stick, whether it be life or death, man. Let's keep going.
As the Lord have taken vengeance, let me start. If thou open thy mouth unto Yahweh to do me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth, for as much as the Yahweh hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies. In other words, he kept his end of the bargain, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father,
come on,
let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows.
keep going.
And he said, go. And he sent her away for 2 months, and she went with her companions and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which she had vowed. And she knew no man, and it was a custom in Israel, that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughters of Jephthah of Gilead 4 days in a year. Y'all think she got sacrificed? Was she sacrificed?
No.
Physically?
No.
What happened?
She basically, offered praise up to him.
What happened to her? Well, he paid a vow. How did he pay that? How was the vow paid?
Sounds like he gave her to them. Why? Yeah, that would be murder.
Yeah, he was murdered. Yeah. So she was a virgin for the rest of her days. She could never marry.
Yeah, that's
That's what she was bewailing. She was like with her sisters, and they were lamenting. But after that, she was committed to Yah. You can't offer no human sacrifice.
Right.
No.
God broke Torah. Yeah.
But that show
basically,
you
she became a nun. So
pretty much, yeah. And that show you how much they put value on your daughters, man, and making sure that just not any man can touch you. Because I mean, that was one of the greatest honor for women to actually be a wife, especially be able to bear children. So that was a death sentence.
Yep. For Israelite, I know Israelite women nowadays just think children is a byproduct of sex.
Right.
Oops. I got this little baby that I got to deal with. I was having a one-night stand. I was doing whatever. But back then, the women seen birth. Redemption was birth for them. And redemption was coupled with their birth of children. You know what I mean? And it wasn't, and this is not to condemn any sisters or anything, but what our mothers didn't see having children the same way our modern sisters do.
Right.
Not at all. They weren't careless with their bodies. They didn't have they seen their land, they seen their body as land. They didn't just see it as something that just produced. It was also just as important who they produced by. Because after they gave themselves to a man, no other man's seed was supposed to ever come through through her body. All the days of her life. Because that's confusion. Because if you look at Yah says we're not even supposed to mingle seed in the ground.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So having multiple men's seed coming out of one womb, that was a thing. That's why the death sentence that's why the woman caught in harlotry the man and the woman was supposed to be stoned. because that land, that woman, that vessel of bringing fruit, bringing forth children, was sanctified for one man. Except with the exception if that man if that man's brother died, right? Then her body, because that seed line, see, we don't think that blood means anything. Seed line and blood and all that stuff was very serious back then. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they seen it. So her giving up her body was meaning that she would never bear fruit. She became a sacrifice. Her body became a sacrifice from then on out. Okay, well, I'm almost done. Go.
So with that being said, everybody on the live, we'll see y'all next week.
Oh yeah, real quick. Everybody, because we actually had to start, we were having problems initially. I know we said last Wednesday we'll actually have all of the information on the feast days on this live, but you guys got to give us a couple more days because we got to actually hash out what we're doing for the feast days after today's lesson. I know we said we'll make an announcement, but we just didn't get to it initially. So we will most definitely have that information on Wednesday going forward. And so we'll actually bring it to you guys. So be ready for that information on Wednesday. And we'll probably even post it or send out an email, probably even before then, for those of you who actually are on our email list. If you're not on our email list, please send us a email just simply saying Shabbat Shalom. So and put CC basically feast days. And then and give us a Shabbat Shalom, and we know that this is in response to getting the feast day information. And instead of actually waiting Wednesday, we'll actually mail that out tomorrow, because we're actually about to have a discussion closing up where we're actually going to be having the venue for the upcoming tabernacles, Feast of Tabernacles. Okay. Hallelujah.
So next week it looked like we should be good to go back to the regular channel. Again, make sure y'all subscribe to this one just in case this happens again. Y'all know exactly where to come. But we'll be back on the regular channel next week, and we will see y'all on Wednesday night Bible study. Shalom, shalom.